14,000 teams have played for their chance to get here today. This is the PMCO Fall Split South Asia Regional Play-ins. And of those 14,000 teams, only 24 made it here today on stage and play in front of you, the audience, and of course you at home as well. I'm Jason Kapp, and I'll be your desk host over the course of these next 5 days. And to my left-hand side, I have two handsome and tall gentlemen. We have Illustrato and we have Mustache Dave. First of all, Dave, how have you been enjoying India for your first time?
Pretty good. I'm loving the naan, the hummus. I've been eating that up every single day. I got some backstage, so I'm ready to go. The crowd is starting to funnel in. The teams are backstage right now. The nerves, though, you can feel it.
Yeah, and Illustrato, of course, coming back here. How does it feel to be, live in an audience with the crowd, with the players, and a fantastic stage?
The energy is insane, and I'm absolutely expecting it's going to be absolutely insane in the upcoming days. I expect it to get a lot crazier as we progress through the tournament. I'm so looking forward to these days.
And speaking of the tournament, it's not only, well, it's basically one giant tournament, but with two mini tournaments within, because there's obviously the play-ins, which will qualify you through straight into the finals. And of those 24 teams, only 16 get through, and the pressure of not only trying to get into the finals, but to have the audience watching you, it's got to be rough. It's got to be like really hard to play with.
Yeah, we are going to have to say goodbye to 8 of the teams here after the prelims. Each team, they do have 12 matches all as a whole, but they're only going to play 8, so we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will, and obviously with those 8 matches, a lot comes into play. But as you said, touch on a little bit later on, but what we should look for is, I guess, how they get to there, because we have changed up the actual point distribution of how you get your points over the course of your games. As we're going to see here in just a few seconds, well, it's 20 points for that chicken dinner.
Yeah, we're talking points over here. So first place will get you 20 points, second place will get you 14 points, third place will get you 10, fourth 8. It goes down by 1 point all the way to 11th through 16th will get you 1 point just for showing up, sitting on the comfortable couches. And then, of course, something that's extremely important here, each kill is 1 point. So we're going to see these points per kill rack up and shoot these teams up the leaderboards.
Yeah, so in my opinion, this just means that kills are going to be that much more important coming into the game. You see a lot of teams that rely on getting those late game chicken dinners, just winning those games and relying on constant placements. And even though they don't get kills, they still somehow manage to perform really well in terms of the points. I don't think that's going to be enough this time around. I think we have to see high impact, high frag games in order to sort of have a team go all the way to the top.
Yeah, but, yeah, I almost guarantee we're going to see those actually happen. And obviously with the points that we now know they need to get into the finals, we need to look at what they're actually playing for in terms of money, because there's a lot on the line, $175,000.
Yeah.
And of course the breakdown going to be right there.
It is 60,000 big ones. That is a lot of money going out to the first place winner. Second takes home half of that, which is 30,000 USD. That is still a significant amount as well. 20 going to the next one, 15 and 10 into the 5th place. Up next, though, for the 6th placers, you do get 8,000, 7,000, 5,000, 4,000, up to the 10th place, and then everyone after that gets 2,000. But here's the thing. If you do not qualify, you don't get anything. Absolutely nothing.
And that's the key point as well, considering if you, you obviously fought through 14,000 teams to get here, and now you have to go one more step to just get any money in your pockets to take home.
Yeah, and of course, the teams that do get that money, the top 16, that's going to be okay. But the main goal, I think you mentioned it, top 5, that's what you want.
Yeah.
First, second, go straight to Malaysia, the finals. Third, fourth, and 5th, you get the prelims. So that's the main goal here. That's what a lot of these squads want to do. They want to make it to the next event.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so much better to go straight to the Malaysia finals right there, because if you want to play, if you have to go through more games, it's a little bit more tiring. No one really wants to go through that process, so you definitely want to end up within that top 5 bracket.
More RNG and circles to deal with, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's actually take a look at today's schedule as well, so you guys can see exactly what groups will be playing what matches. This is going to be important. As you're seeing here, we have 3 different groups, Group A, B, and C, and they're not all going to be playing at the exact same time.
Yeah, so for prelims, we are going to have 2 days, 6 games each day. Groups A versus B for the first 2 games. Groups A versus C for the next 2 games after that. And then the final 2 games of today, Groups B and C. So each team is going to have an opportunity to play each map 2 times. So that's very important to keep that in mind here.
And one thing I want to mention, Illustrato, is the fact that you have, well, Group B in particular, who has kind of some games off in the middle. So we have some teams who like to just, just go straight through all their matches today, and some teams who maybe will favor that little bit of a break. What's your opinion on that?
In my opinion, it's really good if you're a team that has a lot of experience dealing with this. If they win, maybe keep that momentum even though they took a break. You have that experience to be able to say, okay, we know what our game plan is, what happened the last game. They can break down these things a lot better, especially for the fact that they've had to be able to handle these situations in the past before. But there's always that risk of losing momentum, and I think you said this earlier.
Yeah. I mean, you go backstage, you can ask the same question to every single team. They'll have a different answer. Some of these players, they like that they have the 4 games back-to-back because, like you mentioned, that momentum. Some of the teams, they like that they do have that break because they feel like they can use that opportunity to kind of study up on the other squads, take that break, take that breather, and not let the nerves get to them. So everybody's got their own style of play here.
There's that 2 sides of the coin, right? Where
Yeah,
if you're starting to win right off the bat, why would you want to stop? But if you're struggling in the beginning, then maybe you want that little bit of a break to work some things out, shake out some nerves like you mentioned before. But we also need to take a look at all the groups that are playing. This is our 3 groups, and we have split the teams equally across the board. We need to start to dive into this because there's a couple of teams that are really going to stand out. For instance, Orange Rock in Group A. That has to be a team we have to talk about. They came through first in the groups.
Yeah, Orange Rock is one of these teams that we expect to take home everything. I mean, they are a favorite. They're not surely going to win, I mean, obviously. But the thing is, you have all the components for a winning roster on their squad. They have such great late-game tactics. They have really good formations. It's just, I wouldn't be surprised if you just take home the whole thing.
Yeah, and another thing, you know, Orange Rock, they're definitely a superstar when it comes to group number A. But in my opinion, it's an interesting group because we got Synergy Retribution, Orb, Elementrix, and Trusty Process. All 4 of those squads in Group A, this is their first time playing at a LAN together. Yes, some of these players, they might have some experience from other LANs, but playing as a squad, first time. So they are going to be nervous today.
And we talked to Orange Rock yesterday, actually, about this in particular. And they said, well, there's a lot of pressure. They feel like there's a lot of pressure on them from the fans, from the people in the audience. And if you're one of those teams who, well, if it's your first LAN ever, or if it's your first LAN as a team, that's when things can start to crack, right? When you're at home and you're in the comfort, you know, playing in your own position, you're not really worried about that pressure. And then come into this, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher feat for them. But let's take a look now at Group B, because again, there's so many damn good teams across the board. We need to kind of give a little bit of limelight to all of them. And I guess Mega X is going to have to be one of them. Soul as well. How can you not mention Soul when you have Mortal on the team?
Mortal, the king of PUBG Mobile in India. That's their slogan here. So yeah, we'll have to pay attention to them. Definitely a crowd favorite.
Yeah, just a quick pointer though. They did pick up Clutch God. So that's something I want to talk on a little bit later, as we know Clutch God is probably one of the best players in PUBG today.
And then looking at Group C as well, I mean, there is a team, there's a name in there, a brand from the Western world that you have to talk about, Fnatic, one of the first big organizations coming over here to India for PUBG Mobile, and that is a team that's going to have to deal with the pressure of knowing that.
Yeah, we got some interesting little tidbits from the squad. We were talking to them yesterday. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it's a big event for them. It's a big event. I mean, the pressure is on their back here today. They don't only need to perform for themselves, but like you mentioned, that new squad coming into the region.
And then you look at regions. We had 4 of them playing actually within this 4 different countries. Salty Squad, the highest ranked Nepal team come into this. They have to have their own pressure, obviously not necessarily within the stadium today, but from home.
So playing from home is just not the easiest thing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to deal with latency issues, and the fact that they were able to convincingly come through the group stages and end up here, that's no easy feat. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to bring to the table here.
And they're one of the 4 actual teams that made it from Nepal. No one made it from Bangladesh. No one made it from Pakistan. So 20 Indian teams and 4 Nepal teams.
Yeah.
Like, you're fighting for your own country. You know, you're fighting for the other 3 teams that you're joining here today.
Yeah, Salty Squad, meaning brotherhood. So the players have actually been playing together for 6 months online. This is their first time. Again, we're going to talk about this a lot today. A lot of the teams here, their first time on a LAN. I mean, I'm going to be touching on that all day long because today is going to be so important for them to get these LAN jitters out the way.
Kind of like Band of Brothers is what their name is. Like,
yeah.
That's what I think we had a moment to chat with them a second. We asked them, what does salty mean? And it literally translates to brother. So they're like a band of brothers, if anybody has seen that show.
Well, they're going to need to stick together as we do get across the entirety of today. But it's time for us to finally stop talking. It's time to get the players on the stage. We know we want to see them. They want to get out there and start playing. So let's get them up on the stage now.
These sounds, they don't scare me. It's the beating of a reckoning. To overcome the predicament and get through the commotion. Getting this far isn't really enough. I'll have to outrun what's coming for me.
guys. Now we have the teams walking out here to join us on the stage, and the first one going to be coming out, 8-Bit, is a team we're going to have to talk about. Basically owned by one of the biggest PUBG Mobile influencers here in India, Thug. He's actually casting over on the desk as well during this entire event. This has to be a team we mentioned off the bat.
Yeah, the thing is, 8-Bit is one of those teams that have been in the scene for quite a while, and what an entrance they're actually making. You can see the players now head on over to stage, but I am so excited to see them perform later on because there's so many variables when it comes to talking about 8-Bit. We know that they went through a roster change rather recently, losing who was arguably their star player, 8-Bit Gil, now moving to, if I'm not mistaken, Godlike Gaming. Now that's going to be a big question mark because, as we know, they were a very dependent, a squad that was dependent on individual firepower, on individual performances. Now without 8-Bit Gil, I don't know how that's going to change for this upcoming tournament, despite the fact that they did place really, really well previously in other tournaments before.
So we just saw Blind pop out. They did get 10th place in the group stages. This is going to be their first land playing together. One thing to note that is interesting while speaking to the players backstage, Nick was their top fragger from the group stages. They couldn't get a visa, so Nick is not going to be here today. They replaced Nick with Soldier, and this is going to be the first time playing with Soldier at an environment like this, so we'll see if the squad can kind of mesh together well. Coming
out right now, Entity Gaming. I'm so interested and so excited to talk about these guys because as we all know, these guys, this squad has only played actually 11 games in total to qualify for this event. I mean, that's not a lot of games at all, and to be able to qualify on the points that you have scored on just 11 games, that's absolutely immense.
And if you can recall the group stages, it was Neo from there, had a highlight of a play. They were camping in a bathroom for about 5 minutes, and another 2 members from opposite teams came into the same bathroom, didn't see Neo, just laying there in the dirt, and somehow they managed to survive for at least 5 to 10 minutes. So just a funny tidbit from
sometimes
from
the best cameo is to just lay there and do
chill.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have another team coming out. A lot of pressure going to be on their shoulders. Fnatic walking into this one. And they have so many damn good players across the board as well, fielding a roster of 5, which they might be substituting the 5th in a little bit later on.
So since the group stages, Fnatic, they did attend a boot camp for 10 days. And in this boot camp, they learned how to communicate better. They learned some new strategies that we should expect for them here today. It's going to be a big day for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day, definitely, and especially for their new squad member, Oaze, who formerly was actually part of Team Soul before. So I want to see what he brings to the table under the leadership of, their leadership rather. See if how they mesh together as a team.
Yeah, they also picked up a new 5th member in your dreams that they're going to be swapping back and forth with Paratosh, kind of just depending on how each game goes. So
yeah, and the thing is, we know a lot of teams brought out 5 players, so it's maybe the aspect of, well, who plays well when we're here at LAN, right? Maybe use them for the finals.
And one last thing for Fnatic, we spoke to them. They said they want to win the trophy at Globals for their country.
Let's actually, I do want to ask you, Dave, coming into this Fnatic, how do you give these guys what do you think their performance will be like?
Yeah.
I mean, they got the pressure. It's on them right now, especially compared to the group stages. Some of these squads, they had the opportunity to participate in other events. They didn't qualify for those other events, so hopefully they come in here, surprise everybody, because they definitely will have a target on their back here since they're such a large name.
Talking about INS right now as they do come up on stage, I am so interested in talking about these guys because of the fact that they placed 3rd recently in PMIT, so I do want to see how they fare. They have been a squad that has been so dangerous early game, mid game, late game, and they are one of those more aggressive squads. Having said that, they haven't really found a lot of that consistency that we need to see from a tournament winning team. But I'm hoping that they've sorted those issues out, and maybe we'll see a better, more flawless kind of play style from them coming into this one.
The thing is, we don't really know fully what to expect from any of these teams, to be honest, because there has been some time for them to refine their own gameplay, come up with new strategies, and like we mentioned with Fnatic in the boot camp, 10 days is a lot of time, and I've seen in so many different games and so many different tournaments, a boot camp can change around a team completely.
Yeah, I mean, we were speaking to them yesterday, like you said, the confidence from the squad is just, on a top-notch level, 100% right now. Fnatic, which group are they? They're in
Group C.
Group C, so, yeah, I mean, they're going to have the last 4 games together today, so we'll see them later on.
More importantly, get some time to kind of prepare for this as well. We're obviously getting the rest of the teams on the stage here. Mega Stars as well going to be joining us. And there's a lot of players who came in from back in June, actually, for the spring split finals that we saw happen within just the India region alone. And I think that experience you get from that tournament into this one, obviously in front of like a hometown crowd, and obviously more land experience you get, is really going to favor the teams who have that advantage. And there's another big one coming through.
Yep, they did get second place in the group stages with 89 kills. One of the players, very popular player on the squad, has been making headlines recently. Snacks did finish with top 5 damage in the group stages, known as a mid-range assault sniper. So the complete package over here. The recent clip that I was talking about, we saw Snacks on their Instagram, a 1v7, demonstrating some phenomenal gun discipline, so we'll see if they can bring that here today.
I'm actually really interested in seeing how Snacks performs. I mean, he is known to be a sniper, going up against some of the best snipers here today. We hope to see that he goes, I want to see a sniper war today at some point. That is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, for
him
sure.
versus Ronak would be the ideal situation for me to see happen. Sandu as well, we talked about. And oh, there's Orange Rock. And speaking of Sandu, he's a support player for the team, but he top fragged over the group stage with 35 kills.
Yeah, also another player that likes to utilize the DMR here. I believe Sandu had 35 kills. We had Existence with 29 kills. We had Carry with 20, and then maybe with 30 kills when it comes to the group stages. They also set some records with the most chicken dinners in the group stages, and they set a kill record of 22 kills in one game.
And then the most important part of that is because of the points being reduced for chicken dinners, kills, as we said before, are so much more weighted. They're so much more important.
So for me, this definitely goes into the favor of those teams that like to play aggressive, that like to take map control and to definitely contest certain areas. Like you talk about teams like Orange Rock, who definitely like to play in the center, who like to go for those high frag games. I'm expecting them to perform a little bit better. Maybe this is that push that Orange Rock needs to win that tournament.
Well, and on that note, do teams want to play as aggressive off the bat, or do they want to play more passive? Again, you only have 8 actual games to play, so you don't really have many mistakes to make.
I think you have to. I think just because of the way that the format of this tournament is structured, you have to play a little more aggressive. You cannot give up map control. It's not just that easy anymore.
Of course, RIP official going to be coming out next. And this is a team I know you guys wanted to talk about as well a little bit. It's a team that we can expect to see moving through the ranks and potentially have a kind of a standout game, and we'll obviously see as the whole match does go on.
Yeah, RIP Official is definitely a team, one of the oldest clans actually in India. They are a team that has made their name time and time again in tournaments, but never really securing those top places. So we hope to see a better performance from them today, but it's going to be a lot to dig into.
Squad, hold it up. He held it up. So like we said, Brotherhood, they got 4th place when it comes to group stages. Their best performance was on the last day. They got a chicken dinner on Erangel with 16 kills and a chicken dinner on Vikendi. So that was able to shoot them up the leaderboard. Here we go. Next squad popping out. Team Seoul.
Okay, so the thing with Seoul for me is I definitely consider them to be one of the favorites. I don't know if I'm going to say that they're the favorite to win this thing, but with the acquisition of Clutch God, who is an absolute monster, and under the leadership of Mortal, I definitely think there's a very big chance that they can win this whole thing.
And as we've been talking about them as a team, they're probably one of the most complete teams within the whole tournament, actually.
Yeah, so when it comes to the team, comparing them to group stages, you already kind of brought it up with the roster. We spoke to the players backstage. They did mention some improvements that they've been working on since then. They're going to work on their loot time. They feel confident with their loot time. They feel like they've increased their, proactive efficiency when it comes to that, so that they could not be so affected by the circles.
I just want to point out that I remember casting this game from Seoul before in PMIS, I think this year, where Mortal won the game with a 2v1 clutch situation with a nade. So a single nade to end the game. It was actually unforgettable.
2v1?
Yeah, and
right,
a 2v1
nice.
with a grenade. Absolutely beautiful.
We're moving into our final teams here now as we have a Trusted Process coming out. I know, Mustache Dave, you wanted to actually look at them a little bit. A team that maybe has flown under the radar, but this is their chance to really shine.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to the guys. I talked to a lot of people, by the way.
You like to talk.
I like to talk. They only qualified here by 3 points, so they were the last team to breach that cusp level when it comes to group stages. I said lots of mistakes were made. All right, I'm not gonna lie, lots of mistakes were made, but they are coming into here. They feel like they do have the advantage because they're in Group A, so they're gonna have the 4 games back to back. They're a little worried about Vikendi and Sanhok because their drop spots are going to be contested, But like I said, the squad, they're feeling good. They're confident. Let's see what they can do.
That's the thing about the Indian scene that I do want to point out. It is such a young scene. There is a lot of room for growth. So when you have teams like, just trust the process and here 0 Degree, teams that have not been around for the longest time, you have these players with immense amounts of potentials and immense potential for growth.
And something we have seen when talking to the players that we have had teams being hot dropped on, whether that was just in scrims, just to kind of test and get a feel of how they can combat against them. I think figuring out where everyone's drop spots are going to be in the actual match, I think things are completely going to change from scrims into tournament time.
Yeah, this is something we talked about in the back room as well. Like, when two teams favor the same position, what's their mentality towards it? Do they fight for that map control? Because we know teams like Team INS, teams like Team Orange Rock, they like to hold the middle. And teams like Entity as well, they like to go for it and control that middle of that circle. So the question is, do they give it up, give some space to other teams, or do they fight for it tooth and nail?
So we were talking about Entity right there. Interesting team, right? They didn't play the complete matchups when it comes to group stages. Still somehow managing to make it here over teams that played all 12 games. I believe it was John and Blank. They're super excited about the squad coming in today. There's going to be our casters today. They're comparing, just in case you didn't know, they're comparing the squad to Orange Rock, though, which I found very interesting, saying both teams super aggressive here, on the jump, on the fly, pop out the plane, get some loot, go for those kills. So I'm curious, now that we are going to see the team play all the games, because we're not going to let them go here. All right, we got them down there on their couches. Will they qualify? I mean, will they still bring that heat? Because I believe one day they got 19 points per game. One day, and that's a lot of points.
I do think that mental game is one of the things that have hindered Orange Rock in the past, especially coming from PMIT, where they always started off strong and eventually with their lead ended up losing it so many times. I think the reason for that might be because of the fact that they consider playing a little bit more passive, a little bit more tentative, when in fact it doesn't work at all for them. Their playstyle is definitely more suited to going aggressive. That's what we hope to see from them today.
So Orange Rock, definitely a favorite here. You mentioned they got first place in groups. They played in the India Tour, a couple days ago. They got second place. They didn't get the first place, but still definitely a team that is super consistent when it comes to getting the top spot on leaderboards. I feel like they are going to have a big advantage over some of these other squads here today, just because of experience alone.
Yeah, so they start normally at the tippy top at the start of the day, and as the day goes by, after like 2 or 3 matches, they tend to dip and then somehow end up winning the last one. That's what happened every single time. I hope it doesn't repeat today, though.
Well, speaking of the day, let's actually take a look at the schedule yet again, so you guys can see what groups are playing, what matches, and what maps will be played in each of these games. Starting things off on a very comfortable map for all these teams. Erangel going to be kicking things off, and that's something we need to kind of focus on is, of your 8 games you get to play over the course of today and tomorrow, I think you have to be happy starting here because it's one of the most balanced maps for you to play on.
I think Erangel is home turf for like everybody.
Yeah.
This is where we all started learning how to play. This is sort of what everybody knows the most of. And it's a little bit of a slower map. You can take your time on it. You can be a little bit more patient, a little bit more diligent looting. It's not like Sanhok where you drop and you never know what's behind you.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. Erangel, we're going to have it in the first game here, and then we're going to see it again tomorrow. So if you are squads A and B, you're going to be feeling good coming out here on the tried and true OG map. You're confident out here. You're going to be able to shake off those land jitters.
I think it's really the best way to start on Erangel, because you really get a feel for other teams, how they want to play, their approaches. Because if you drop in Sanhok or Vikendi, you probably don't know. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't give you any information.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Boot camp is going to be a hot spot. So I'm curious if we're going to see squads on those maps kind of, hovering around there in their parachutes, but then seeing, okay, there's 2 squads there. We're going to have to pull off. I mean, Miramar, Las Leonas, we've seen 4 squads able to kind of loot there and then pull off. So that's a nice thing to kind of think about, because a lot of teams are going to drop there as well. But Erangel, let's see where these teams drop. Are we going to have any hot drops? I don't think so, because if you get taken out early on, you're already at a super disadvantage. I mean, if you go out in 11th through 16th, you only get 1 point. You're probably not going to get any kills, maybe 1 or 2 kills, and you're going to be down there at the bottom leaderboard. Yeah,
that is definitely not a place that you want to find yourselves in. You want to get that slow, steady burn coming into the late game. Staying alive and then getting points as you go, getting kills as you go along. That's kind of the way to go. If you drop out early, that's such a big blow. We've seen that happen with Orange Rock when they actually did take a big, big loss of their points. And I would argue that it is actually the reason why they lost PMIT this year, because of the fact that they got eliminated 18th in 1 game out of all the games that they played.
I do like Orange Rock, though, because when they are at a disadvantage, kind of like what you're mentioning, say they're in a team fight. It's a 4v4. They get a knock on their side. so they're a member down. They don't get aggressive like other teams. They don't try to clean up the fight. They try to toss out some utilities like smokes, try to block off that sight lines, and prioritize going for the revive on their 4th member. They prioritize having 4 alive.
Yeah.
Make it to the end. That's how they get their chickens.
They're such a good tactical team. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember to this day how they won the first game, I think, of PMIT on the day 1. They all camped on this Harry Potter tower and had just Mavi cleaning up around the perimeter. It was a beautiful formation, and it really worked. And Mavi being Mavi, obviously, he just cleaned up everything else.
I like how we talked to them as well. And we're like, so Mavi, why do you go so far away from your team? And he's like, yeah, I'm just scouting. And we're like, but really that far away? He's like, yeah, just scouting. And it's like, and you're getting kills? Yeah, I'm just scouting, just doing his own thing. But what I want to talk about is, going to the whole mindset of 8 games to play, right? We talked to a lot of the teams, and they said everyone has a chance. Like, they're worried about every team here. There wasn't one in particular that they were, like, really focused on. That, to me, says that actually makes me ask the question of, are we going to see teams who maybe see themselves as a lower team? Are they going to get maybe a little bit crazy in the beginning, get extra aggressive to try to have that early start? Because as you mentioned, Illustrato, if you get knocked out early on, well, then you can just say pretty much goodbye to at least the initial start.
Yeah, I mean, getting a good start is important. I say this time and time again, PUBG Mobile is one of those games that require momentum. Like, you need it. It'll give you the boost that you need to go to the start and all the way to the end of the day. That's what you need, having that momentum. And if you get knocked down early, even in the middle, at least, of the tournament or in the middle of the day, maybe game 3, it takes a lot of steam out of you.
And the frustrating part is you have to sit there till the game's done, right? So you're going to sit there and just mellow in what's happening and just realizing the mistakes that have been made. And you don't want to have that happen. I think a good mentality, a good mindset is really important, and only a few teams out there might actually be able to maintain that with a bad start.
Of course, and then you got your fans in the stands, so you don't want to let them down. But one thing that I do want to note compared to the group stages, all right, all the teams, same level playing field. All right, we're all on LAN right now. Ping's all going to be the same. It's not going to be like, oh, my ping was too high, my ping was too high. That's why I got taken out. So we're definitely going to see the skill gaps here today. Probably at the end of the day, see which teams are kind of stronger than others. And then hopefully those teams that are at the bottom, not qualifying here in the prelims, hopefully they'll go back tonight, review the VODs, come back tomorrow with some type of other game plan.
I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised about how some teams would be performing, though. Like, because sometimes you just never know. There's a team that comes out of the works and be like, hey, we're just going to wreck everybody else. It's happened. Like, I think I never expected Revenge to really win that last tournament, PMIT. They came out of the woodwork and just destroyed every single person.
Especially because it was a LAN, right? So everybody has the same ping. There's no excuses here. It's all positioning. It's all, again, the circles, and it's all about raw gun skill.
And that's one of the beautiful things about playing on LAN is that you never really know who's going to turn up and who's going to suddenly not do so hot, right? And that must be probably, honestly, as a player, one of the worst feelings, to be an amazing player online and then just at LAN.
There's no excuses now.
Yeah, you can't hide behind anything.
Well, the fact that we had back in June, I remember some teams who were playing with devices that weren't as good as what they were playing with at the event, and then they had higher ping as well. And when they came into the actual event, no one expected them to perform as well as they actually did, which can obviously catch quite a few people off guard. And again, the LAN experience, being here in front of a crowd, having people cheer for you. Orange Rock, they felt the pressure 100% from the fans, especially if you're a team that's going up against like Team Seoul and you take them out. Does the crowd turn against you? Do they favor you
Hopefully
now?
don't get chips thrown at you.
Yeah, or anything thrown at you. I don't think that's going to be allowed here anyways. So we'll take care of that. We got security. But that's pressure that you're not going to experience at home in that regular environment you used to play in. And
I don't think the hardware is going to be an issue. Everybody's going to have the same phone, if I'm not mistaken, this time. So it's going to at least remove one factor that could be an issue. That just makes life so much better for all those players. Because the last thing that you want in a LAN is having hardware issues. It's just insane.
So quick little topic here on maps. We are going to be going to Erangel, like you mentioned. We have groups A and B going against each other. Mega X, they're in Group B. They will be playing. When we refer back to group stages, looking at their Erangel matchups, they had a first place, second place, third place, all in Erangel. Definitely a strong team. This is definitely their map to play. With that being said, do you think they'll perform here at LAN based off of their previous history on Erangel?
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's so hard to say, man. I think so. I think there's something about LANs that bring out the best in players. I'd like to believe that, whether that's a little bit naive or not. I think when you get into LAN as a player, it's what you're born to do. You know what I'm saying? And especially with the kind of teams that we're going to be seeing in Group A and B, you've got Orange Rock, you've got Megastars, you've got Mega X, you've got 8-Bit, you've got RIP Official. So many good teams. This is going to be a banger of a first match. I can't wait to start it.
And I want to know, actually, as we're about to get underway with the first game, do you guys have predictions? We're going to change things up when we get into the finals, hopefully. But I'm curious, who do you think is the
for
favorite?
prelims?
Yeah, the predictions for who do you think is going to be the team to take that first chicken dinner, and if you think that's a team that can surprise you.
They all have noise-canceling headphones on, by the way, so they won't hear this. So we're not going to hurt any feelings.
Okay, should I start? Do you want me?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I'll do it. Well, I'm going to say Orange Rock is probably my favorite to win the first map, obviously. I think Seoul has a very, very good chance, but if I were to pick sort of an underdog, I'd actually go with... that's Entity. I have Entity looks...
Your underdog. All right, well, I'm going to go with doing pretty good today, 8-bit. All right, they got 5th in the group stages. The last day, they popped off. Seoul, hopefully because the fans will love it.
Seoul or Orange Rock, it's so tough to decide on the first
Where's
match.
the Fanatics? I was expecting maybe a Fnatic thrown in there. They booped.
Well, that's my number one. That's my number one, but I don't want to BM anybody here. So.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get this first game underway. Let's head over to our commentators, John Allen and Blankets will take you through the first match.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I've got a question. Do you know what time it is?
PMCO time.
It's PMCO time. We're ready to get underway with the first game of these play-ins. I'm super excited. My name's John Allen. With me, Xander, or Blankcast as he goes by sometimes. Just whatever you want, whatever you're feeling like. But we are going to be heading over into the game relatively soon. I think we might be having a little bit of a false start on that. But I'm super excited to get on.
You've told me.
Absolutely. I'll tell anyone who will listen. So I'm really rooting for those guys, obviously the new pickup of that squad.
That was his number one. You say, Fnatic. These guys, really good. They got a lot of pressure on them. That's the main issue for them right now. Is what they were talking about before. We saw it here right now. They want to be the best. They want to come out on top here. And just like that opening video we saw at the beginning, is it really enough just to get to this point? They want to hit that number one spot, but everyone knows they are the best.
Absolutely. They can.
The best orange in the business, at least.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of orange-themed teams.
There is, yeah.
Orange Rock, you've got obviously Fnatic as well, so they're going to be vying for the best orange logo, I think. That's
Elementrix
really
too.
What we're going to be,
count them out.
Elementrix, obviously a very strong team coming in from Nepal. One of our favourite players as well, it's not Mr. Poo Man.
I call him Mr. Poo Man anyway.
It's because he's got Mr. Jozu as his teammate.
I know. Mr. Hughes is actually a really cool guy. I actually met him earlier. And I said to him, I'm feeling pretty nervous today. I'm ready to cast in front of this crowd. Are you ready for it? You feel a bit nervous? He's like, I'm not nervous, mate. What you say?
Easy breezy.
Easy breezy. I've got the M24. I'm good to go. And I was like, oh, all right then.
All right then.
Yeah.
Confidence coming out from Nepal. Fantastic stuff. But whilst we wait for this lobby to get underway, we've got a little bit of an interview for you lined up with one of the teams. Take it away.
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आपका स्वागत है फिर से PMCO साउथ एशिया फाइनल्स में। टीम इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट है ये, जहाँ पे हम टीम के साथ कुछ बातचीत करते हैं। और टीम है रैंकिंग ई-स्पोर्ट्स। पहले तो भाई स्वागत है आप सबका। थैंक यू एंड कंग्रेचुलेशन, आप टॉप 24 में हैं। थैंक यू। थैंक्स। बहुत मेहनत की होगी आप लोगों ने। क्या बात है, आप खुश नहीं लग रहे?
नहीं
हंसो, क्या दिक्कत है? चलो शुरुआत करते हैं इंट्रोडक्शन के साथ।
मेरा नाम ऋषभ है, मैं रैंकिंग ई-स्पोर्ट्स से खेलता हूँ। मेरा इन गेम नेम सेटन है and I play as a support player and I am from जोधपुर राजस्थान।
मेरा नाम सत्यम है, मेरा इन गेम नेम राइजर है, मेरा टीम नेम रेकनिंग ई-स्पोर्ट्स है और मैं अपनी टीम का सपोर्ट प्लेयर खेलता हूँ और मैं न्यू दिल्ली से हूँ।
मेरा नाम अक्षय तनेजा है, मेरा इन गेम नेम डॉन है, मैं न्यू दिल्ली से हूँ, मैं टीम रेकनिंग ई-स्पोर्ट्स के लिए खेलता हूँ।
मेरा नाम विश्वराज है, मेरा इन गेम नेम डेव है, आई प्ले फ्रॉम रेकनिंग ई-स्पोर्ट्स, मैं उड़ीसा से हूँ, आई प्ले एज एन असॉल्टर फॉर माय टीम।
तो सबसे पहला सवाल, बिकॉज आप लोग मेरे ख्याल से पहली बार होगा साथ में खेले, इससे पहले साथ में नहीं खेले, तो कैसे बनी ये टीम?
हम तीन जो हैं, सेटन, मैं एंड डेव और हमारा एक और साथी है क्रशर एंड एक और है जो आया नहीं है अभी। तो हम लोग चारों मिलके खेलते थे, बट एक क्रशर के एग्जाम्स के चक्कर में वो यहाँ आ नहीं पाया, तो हमें एक रिप्लेसमेंट चाहिए था, तो हमें राइजर मिला एंड हम राइजर के साथ कंटिन्यू कर रहे थे, जो कि अभी तक अच्छा ही जा रहा है।
और ये कब बनी थी, कितना टाइम हो गया ऐसा खेलते हुए?
1 मंथ
ग्रुप सीरीज में बनी थी वो।
डोंट यू थिंक ये आप लोगों के इतने रैंडम चेंजेस की वजह से आपकी परफॉर्मेंस कहीं ना कहीं लैग करती हो?
हाँ, ग्रुप स्टेजेस में हमारी परफॉर्मेंस थोड़ी लैग करी थी और हमने उस पर मतलब जो हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स थी हमने उस पर फोकस करा है और अब हम एक नया कुछ लेकर आए हैं जो हम यहाँ परफॉर्म करके दिखाएंगे।
बस अब इससे पहले मैं किसी टीम से बात कर रहा था तो कोई कह रहे हैं हमें 12 दिन हुए खेलते हुए, हम 12 दिन से साथ में खेल रहे हैं, आप 1 महीना कह रहे हैं। मेरे हिसाब से ये टाइम बहुत कम है सिनर्जी बनाने के लिए।
लेकिन एक बात मैं बोलना चाहूँगा कि हम लोग ने बीच में अपनी सिनर्जी इंक्रीज करने के लिए बूट कैंप रखा था, जिसमें हम लोग 24/7 साथ में रह रहे थे, चारों प्लेयर्स, और उसकी वजह से हमारे ग्रुप सीरीज अच्छे भी गए और हम लोग टॉप 16 मेंटेन कर पाए थे ग्रुप सीरीज को।
तो अभी पीएमसीओ से क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस है?
पीएमसीओ से एक्सपेक्टेशंस तो यही है कि अभी हम लोग अच्छा करें और फाइनल क्वालिफाई करें और उसके बाद मेन ग्लोबल के लिए फोकस करें और टॉप 5 अपना एम रखें।
क्वाइट क्लीन। तो अभी टीम में सबसे ज्यादा पैनिक कौन करता है? मतलब अगर इंटेंस सिचुएशन हो जाए, वो मैं रिवाइव कर मैं मर गया,
मैं करता हूँ।
ये कोई प्राउड मोमेंट नहीं है।
थोड़ा बहुत करता हूँ मैं।
चलो टीम में, चलो पैनिक वाला तो पता चल गया, मुझे जानना है कि सबसे ज्यादा काम कौन रहता है इंटेंस सिचुएशंस में?
मैं रहता हूँ सबसे ज्यादा काम इंटेंस
सिचुएशन। ये एक्सपीरियंस है
और आईजीएल भी हूँ मैं इस टीम का, तो मुझे काम रहना पड़ेगा वरना हमारी पूरी टीम बिल्कुल डिस्टर्ब हो सकती है अगर मैं ढंग से फोकस नहीं करूँगा गेम पे और काम नहीं होगा तो।
सो अकॉर्डिंग टू यू राइजर, आप एक आईजीएल है, आपको पता है सामने अब 23 ऐसी टीम्स है जो फुल स्टैक लाइनअप के साथ आ रही है और कुछ टीम तो ऐसी है, फिनाटिक, ओआर, मेगा एक्स, आईएनडी, बहुत ये काफी टाइम से साथ में खेल रहे हैं, स्टार प्लेयर्स भी हैं, अच्छा भी खेलते हैं। ऐसी टीम्स को हराने की क्या स्ट्रैट है आपके हिसाब से? बड़ी बेसिक बताइए, आई नो कि आप मुझे अपनी एक्सपर्ट नहीं बताओगे बिकॉज अभी दिखाओगे सीधा, बट फिर भी
बेसिकली स्टार्ट तो ये है कि हम लोग जो ग्रुप सीरीज में फॉलो करते आ रहे थे, हम लोग ने थोड़ा मतलब रीडिंग करी है उसको, बाकी टीम्स के रोटेशन एंड स्ट्रैटेजीज देख के और अपने में इम्प्रोवाइज किया है। और ऐसा है कि वो लोग अच्छे हैं लेकिन जो हमारी टीम के प्लेयर्स है वो अंडररेटेड है एंड वो लोग लिटरली परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं लैंड पे जाके।
Some pretty confident stuff coming out from the squad, reckoning. Think that they can bring the heat here at the start of the play-ins.
Oh, they do, John. I think it's quite interesting to think about as well because they were talking about how they'd really strategize, try to fix some of their issues that they'd experienced during the group stages. And one thing to consider for you guys at home is actually that it's about under a month ago that we saw those initial group stages. So all these teams, they've had a lot of time. Now, one thing that Illustrado mentioned on this was the PMIT, right? Revenge Esports, they were in the PMCO at the beginning, one of the 32 teams that were there before we cut 8 out. Revenge were one of them. They had a month to improve, and they came out on top of PMIT and actually gave Orange Rock a really hard time in the end. So I'm really interested to see how all these teams have improved, come so far, because you know how dedicated this scene is here in South Asia. They are in it to win it.
Absolutely. They are all gunning for that top spot for those chicken dinners time and time again. So hopefully they're going to be able to put their best foot forward. As you can see, they're all suiting up, getting those headphones on.
We've got the guy in the bottom right there with the pillow. Oh, yeah. He's chilled out.
He's super chilled. I really want one of those pillows, man.
Yeah.
They look super comfy.
They do look super
comfy. I will
comfy.
be honest, I am probably going to try and pinch one if I can.
Whoa, John, we don't do that around here. I might pinch one on the slide too.
Okay, cool, yeah. We won't talk about that anymore. But yeah, so someone I want to talk about, speaking of things fixed since they touched on it on the about them on their first honest, I am if things fixed since group stages, Entity Gaming. They touched on it on, and that's a phenomenal score. You look at what Orange Rock were able to achieve overall coming out of the group stages.
Literally everyone, and there were so many angles to lock down there, and so They were in a four-way split where they had each player watching. You saw Jonathan and Neo just razzing it into anyone. Specifically, there was a moment with the hay bales where they just slammed in, completely wiped a team. It was incredible. So completely agree here, John. I agree with the desk too. This is
as the underdog, as you say. Like, I don't think that they come into it as that, because you look at their performances and they just are dominant when they need to be.
We just didn't see how, basically, they started up the motorbike of everyone else, went very, very fast, and then ran out of gas along the way, and everyone just overtook them. But in the beginning, they were dead ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's more like the motorbike was shipped over to Milan, where they were playing in a tournament over there. And so they couldn't really sort of function as the same sort of unit, which is why they only actually participated in 7 out of the 12 games coming in from the group stages.
Yeah, that motorbike had mega ping issues.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it was unfortunate, but they only played 7 games, and they still qualified against teams who played the full suite of 12.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but let's talk about a couple other teams here today. Obviously, you mentioned Elementrix before, Nepal team, who is representing that's a country there, and they do so well, right? They do so well, and we saw them explode at the beginning of the stage, and then they kind of petered off as we went on. Hopefully, they've fixed some of their mistakes there, and they are more consistent. But another Nepal team that we have to talk about is Salty Squad, who were ridiculously good towards the end of the group stage. So we have a completely opposite thing going on, where they just got better and better as time went on. We saw ridiculous gas station pushes from them, so I'm excited to see what Salty Squad can do.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting to see what they've got up their sleeve, what they've got in store for us. So hopefully we're going to be able to get underway relatively soon. Into the first game of the play-ins. Of course, the top 16 teams from here moving on to those regional finals. Everyone is going to be looking out for. That's going to be 2 days from now.
Yeah, you got 0 Degree right in front of you there. Han Sing right in the corner. Try and lead his team to victory there. We are going to get into the game very, very shortly. It's so cool. After casting all these players to the group stages and now seeing them all here today in the dugouts, it's an incredible feeling. I imagine for you as well, John. But,
absolutely.
It's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to, like Dave says, the OG map. We've got Erangel coming up very shortly. I'm going to be interested in who locks down Rozhok and Skull and Apps, because in the group stages, the circle kind of gravitated towards Rozhok and Skull pretty much all the time, and we had 2 finishes on the little island just off to the east of Rozhok. West, sorry.
Into the skies we go. The plane has set its course. We're going from north to south, straight down the middle. Game number 1, it's underway.
Can be fun, John, but this plane path gives so many options to all these teams, so kind, but we know what happens with a kind plane path. You get a cruel circle coming through. Yasnaya, very much open. Like we said, everything is very easy to get to here, so there shouldn't be any issues with looting. There was actually a really interesting thing that people were saying on Odessa is the improvements, right? And if you haven't watched it yet, there is the new documentary, Be The One, which details the lives of Mortal, Scout, and Carry from their respective teams. And Mortal's talking about how they're still trying to improve their communication. And they're a more complete team now, especially with Pudge God now on side from Revenge Esports, the winners of PMIT. So they should be faring a little bit better here. And they did come in 6th, so they were definitely a contender during the group stages.
Really great stuff coming out from them. The teams now figuring out where they want to go. Orange Rock actually a little bit split, heading over towards Georgia Pole way, maybe picking up some vehicles, heading out that way a little bit further so they can rotate better as the circle comes through. Seoul going central, circle, central as well. It's going to be pretty kind. So kind plane path, kind circle, it's very much a great way to start us off.
Yeah, this gives so many options to pretty much everyone right now. And now, the Orange Rock split isn't necessarily something new that we've seen before. We've seen Carry just go all the way off and fly into the rest of his team very much later. But what we do have here is a lot of teams vying for control on that military base. And that's exactly what does happen here on the start of the day. But that is Sandu going down. A massive pickoff onto Orange. Well, he was the top fragger in the entirety of the group.
You can see C block is being contested, Trusted Process and Mega X.
We've got Elementrix, a couple of passionate, but again, this map is all about feeling the other teams out. Like we were saying before, it's been under a month since the last group stage just came through. A lot
onto this fight with Mega X. Might be pretty tricky for Mega X to figure it out, but they seem to be heading westward. Rolling around as I see the two on your screens, Mega X and Trusted Process. You've also got Mr. Hyozu set down south for Elementric. Trusted Process take first casualty. Snacks gets it done, and they take down both of those players with little to no problem.
Relative ease there of damage and second highest in kills. They were really, really strong. Snacks also mentioned on the desk as one of the top players within India at the moment. This guy is incredible. He is really, really scary. Brand from Maximus X. They are now Team Insane. So just to clear up any confusion there.
Well, there we go. Look at the locations for everyone. That's nice. That's a fancy little graphic coming in. Really. So, Rip Official, they do claim crates where Orange Rock was seen.
South Georgia. You get a decent amount of loot, but Rip Official, like you say, they are just hanging around like some vultures ready to pounce on Orange Rock at a moment's notice. But Rip Official, this was one of the relatively bottom-end teams from the group stages. Now, Orange Rock, when we had a sit down with them, they were saying that these lower-end teams were hot-dropping them all the time in scrims. And why not? They are the best team, and the best way to learn is from the best team in South Asia currently. So if you can just learn how to hot drop, how to fight against this team, you're undoubtedly going to get better. And what it makes for Orange Rock is very circle can really hurt you.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky to try and manage that. And that's what we've praised them before for, is keeping all four players alive. A similar story for the now Fnatic squad coming on through. So really, really important to have that pressure. Likely to do if you have all four alive.
25 points, nothing to be scoffed at. We've seen highs of 40, but really that 25 to 32 range is really all you'll see Orion come away with. What's that? 32 points overall, which is not bad at all for the team. Anyway, currently they don't have to move too much. Seoul are probably in the best position around school and apps. They can fend off anyone who comes towards them. And when you play central, usually you sacrifice loot, right? Because you have to move there quickly. But because Seoul is on school and apps, they already have damn good loot. Yeah. As well as a central position. They're really looking good for this game.
Got a lot of stats on the board there. Only one chicken dinner found for Seoul so far. Hopefully they'll be able to step it up just a little bit, do their country proud.
Absolutely.
They can get done. They do have the clout to do it. Obviously, coming in from the previous season as winners, they have had a little bit of roster shift ups. shifty upties. There we go. Something like that. So they do have to change something, but as Illustrator was saying on the desk, Clutch God, a really, really strong player, should be able to breathe some energy into that squad.
It's a big pickup, for sure. And
absolutely.
It means that Seoul can breathe a little easier when you have a massive fragger on your side as well. I think that's definitely what Seoul were missing. I think they have the leadership coming from Mortal. I think they have some really strong players. Viper is an incredible player, all-rounder, really. And now you have Clutch God on side. You have that extra oomph, which I think they were kind of missing during the group stages. Yeah. ETG Brawlers are currently just south of them on Potato Hill, so they're just scouting right now. It's a very classic rotation for them. But they're the only ones really moving, looking for a home. Mega X currently, Mega Stars are actually on the northern side, but right now we have a fight right in front of us.
Yeah, Trusty Process really not having the greatest of times with this early game. They're down to one player already. All of the casualties being on their squad. Their last player remaining alive is just tiptoeing under the bridge. Oh, they got two. They still got two. They still got another one over the other side, but it's really not looking good. They still have to cross this bridge at some point. Instead, they might try and go for the swim.
It would make sense, right? But they have been pushed now by the circle, and I think that whatever happens next with this incoming circle is going to really define how Trusty Process can make their way out of here. Right now, it's looking pretty dire, though. Elementrix, though, it looks like they've all regrouped with one another, but it is Team Insane who are currently holding down that western bridge right now, and Elementrix are going to struggle to get in. That's the next circle. It's tough for all these players who are currently on Military Island, and it's not so far away from these bridges that these teams have to move quickly. They can still hold this down. The question is, do you want to take a few casualties in doing so?
I'll tell you who this is actually quite good for, is Orange Rock. It's already pushed people over to the east, which means that they can play a little bit harder on the edge. And as an aggressive team, that kind of favors them as a play style. They will be able to take those fights at their behest, and they will be able to just push on through and see what they can find. And as we say, they've got the fragging chops to do it.
Oh, definitely. Now, playing on this soft edge over here, they can come just straight through ruins and then move their way, and there is so much cover ahead of them on the eastern side in terms of the buildings from school and the outskirts of Rozhok. They're going to have a nice and easy time getting through there. Team Insane are opting to leave early. Godlike also moving up from Milta into shelter area. So they're going to have, it's not a massive amount of cover for them, and most teams will hear them now on the vehicles as they make their way in. But we have a huge cluster dead center of the circle right now.
8-bit just getting a little bit peppered on the rotation. ETG Brawlers spiking out from their compound, trying to spot out a couple of things to do, and that's going to allow 8-bit to know that they can't find any sanctuary over there. They're going to have to find another way to hold themselves alive.
So Orb down there really giving Trusty Process a really tough time overall. Now Orb is one of the teams that I saw and I was like, wow, this team was really improved since the beginning of group stage. Towards the end, we saw players like Mazik and players like Max Cash just doing absolute work. So it's super interesting to see. And Mad Dog has it weird moments as well, where he's just able to hide in plain sight. So hope we see a little bit more of that.
He becomes the ground. He becomes the cover. He needs nothing more than a
few blades of grass. Yeah,
and that's all he has. But the Megastars just peppering over towards 0 degree. This is sort of standard compound play, and actually it's something that we saw last season over in India, when it was the Indian region, now in the South Asian region. These teams actually really quite heavily favor compound style moving into these play-ins. So it looks like they're falling back on that just a little bit. I do like to see some terrain play, especially on Erangel. There's a lot of really strong hill cover, a lot of really strong positions that you can be holding. But going back to the basics, that has its benefits too. You can really sort of feel comfortable, and maybe to start us off, they're just getting into it. They're just opening up their land breathing coming in. It's a special way you have to breathe. It is a particular technique. Obviously, if you're at home,
one of the many forms,
you do need to breathe in a very particular way. It's very important. Otherwise, you do just instantly. The admins check that you're breathing properly.
They do. They come over, they touch your chest, and you're like, are you land breathing?
They've got one of those stethoscope. They check
special one.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
that is all not true.
Now, with all these teams in the compounds, like you were saying before, though, John, I think it's definitely more leaning on this favor of the when we first saw South Asia, they were a very passive region. And I definitely commented on this in the global finals. Obviously, I wasn't there for the spring split, but it's something I definitely noticed with, they'd go, at least Seoul would go to a compound, stay there too long, even after getting a really good position, but refusing to move because they were scared to make that rotation. Towards the end of the group stage, we saw teams just ping-ponging all over the place, and it was very fun, very dynamic. But here, I do not blame any of these teams for playing a bit more passive right now. They're feeling everyone else out. Like I said, it's been over a month since these teams have played together, excluding scrims. So it's very, very interesting to see how this will pan out. But I think it will be a lot of compound play, especially in this area and south of Yasnaya.
Everyone finding their buildings now. The next rotation came through. The players from Military Island all rotate relatively unharried. It's almost a miracle to run into each other, but everyone now crashing into the areas, as you say, around school, around Yasnaya, finding their openings.
Just finding the footing, really. I think that's what you have to do, especially if you're on the back foot coming up from... Looking for a foothold, looking a bit of terrain to call home. That's what's going to be most difficult, especially with all these teams using that third-person perspective, hiding out in the compounds, ready to pounce on you as soon as you appear.
See if they can just spot you out. Obviously, Mega X is one of the stronger teams coming through, coming in second overall from those group stages, doing a lot of work. But 8-Bit, they get found out by the ETG Brawlers. This is two teams, as we said earlier, were vying for similar areas on the map. Seems like they've come to loggerheads now.
ETG Brawlers got a couple of good players on the team. They didn't have the massive group stages that we expected them to. Obviously, they've got the iconic players in the form of Iconic, as well as Nova, who are very well known in their country. And it's great to see them popping off right now. We'll see if they can continue doing it. Currently, 8-Bit do hold down this compound, which is quite strong. But look at all the vehicles. They're ready to leave at a moment's notice. They do have to worry about 0 degree, though, but this hillside might give them a little bit of cover in terms of line of sight. What they do have to worry about, though, is leaving. That rotation out of there is going to be very tricky.
Oh, dear. Trusty Process really not having the best time of it, losing yet another player. Sorry, Dave. Looks like they're not going to be able to do too much more into this game. Currently on 0 points. Check it out there. Orb sat up top. 2 kills for them. Getting that one relatively early on into the game.
So Orb official, ETG Brawlers, Rip official as well. Not teams you'd expect to be on top, but obviously this is only 15 minutes into the play-ins. So a lot can happen in the next 10 to 15 minutes as we close out Erangel. But I'm excited to see what happens next. We do have now a little bit of a better look of where these teams are playing from. Entity currently in Yasnaya, a team that we didn't really see very much right now, but it seems to be playing it safe, and they're ready to move in. Next circle does pop right now, right on top of Megastar, so they've moved all the way down from Severny, made a great rotation past Yasnaya, and into a position where they can just control the fields just south of Yasnaya. It's going to be a very difficult rotation for Entity. They're going to lose some vehicles, undoubtedly.
See what they can use. It is a resource that you can sort of start to invest moving forwards in the game, moving forwards in the into the process of these circles closing down on you. Vehicles become cover. They become mobile setups, and you can really do that. Speaking of this position, this is the difficulty that you have when you start to invest in compounds. ETG Brawlers, they can go anywhere. They can just leave at any time, whereas exiting a compound, a lot harder. Speaking of trying to get into a compound, though, is even more difficult than that. Teams like Rip Official are finding that out. 0 degree and Synergy all shooting on their way. They know exactly where they are. They've already lost one. Tries to crawl in, but it's not going to go his way. Major Alpha able to claim that. Synergy pick up a kill.
Synergy looking to make another miracle performance here in the play-ins. Obviously, in the group stages, they were quite far down on the rankings, but they had a ridiculously good last day, last match too. And they managed to get the chicken dinner and jump up a lot of points, actually forcing Hydra out of the runnings. Obviously, Hydra had some really strong firepower, but just were not consistent enough. And Synergy were just able to make it happen. So I'm excited to see what they can do during the play-ins, because they have been basically, they've climbed it from the pit of group stages, peeked their head over, and now they've got another pit to climb, and it is the play-ins itself.
They've gone for one to escape on out, and actually, somehow, he's managed to get away with it. Getting all the way away, and ETG Brawlers still shooting onto Orb. Rip Official now 2 players left in the shack. They sent one of their players out wide to try and head off, but they are going to crash straight into the Soul. That might not be the best of ideas. Entity now defending on the northeast of the circle. Off against Godlike for now, as they are taking that fight. The fields south of Yasnaya, very difficult to navigate.
Yeah, I think that's why you're seeing most of these players congregating around the southern side. There's a huge hill here. Well, not a huge hill, but there's definitely terrain that undulates that you can play around, which is nice and easy. Seoul currently still on that western side, very close to Legend from Rip Official, who is doing either some outstanding scouting or very much far away from home.
Yeah, he just sent away. He was the guy who managed to sneak away from that shack in the UAS.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Orange Rock, they are the ones who are gatekeeping Seoul right now. Seoul either remove Orange Rock or have to slowly creep into this circle. There's really no in between there for them, because on the northern side, they're met by a river and very much open ground, which Orange Rock will definitely see them moving towards. But again, we're going to look back on our screen. We've got this freeway split between Orb, Synergy E, and 0 Degree. But that's a nice shot from ETG Brawlers onto Pan Singh.
Oh, double knock coming out from Synergy E, and Rip really not having the best time of it. Trust the process eliminated in 16th. Rip down to very minimal force right now. Not having the greatest time.
No, not at all, John. Very, very unfortunate there. It's just Legend, I believe, who is last. And Synergy basically cleared out all the players in the shack. So Legend is the hope that goes forward.
Ooh,
see what they can do. That is a really healthy shift for a lot of these teams.
It's actually going to be really tricky for Entity particularly. They're going to have to cross the open fields. You can see they're mounting up already. Might crash into Synergy Retribution.
What a gift, though, for ETG Brawlers. We were talking about this, that they had to leave. If they had to leave there, they were going to be fired upon by at least 2 free teams. Now, they can just set up right on the top of this hill with the nice little defilators they'll create from those vehicles, which they really won't need anymore to rotate with. They're already doing it now.
Controlling it. Elementrix taking a little bit of punishment, moving on forwards. As these three-way splits getting shut down, the Megastars have spotted them out. Mr. Hyozu still going strong though. Still will be able to get there. Godkill trying to strafe across. Will be able to get out of those scopes for now. Kisley not quite able to finish it off.
Yeah, just pat himself back into cover. A little bit scared. He's out in the open there. I mean, a lot of the other players are, but these are some nice shots coming through now onto Mega X, who are taking some serious punishment.
Megastars really doing a lot of work at the moment, controlling this ground. They're right on the northern side of this next circle. They do have to move in a minute. Soul taking a little bit of a fight. Clutch God down. As Mortal falls as well in the battle currently with Retribution. Trying to go out wide. Clutch God has been revived, but Viper takes his place on the floor. In goes Regaltos, goes for the spray, will get shut out as well. Now it's just Clutch God. He falls, and it's Soul down and out in 15th.
Unfortunate there. Mortal trying to make something happen, but I really think it was impatience. They were desperate to get those players up inside, and I think what they could have done is waited it out behind the car and went for that refrag again and then picked up the player on the floor. Instead, they rushed all into the building, hoping to keep all 4 players up. But you know what? It's unfortunate. Soul, they are a family, and a family dies together.
Well, they all go down. Only 1 point for them. Not going to be super happy with that, but it's a little bit of a scuffle going around the garage at the moment. 0 Degree have the ground floor.
RV. Oh my lord, you got to sprint on him, but it's not enough.
No, he is going to get shut out, and that's Orange Rock losing yet another player. They're going to get eliminated as well. Down in 14th, it's Orange Rock. Top scorers from those group stages, but here in the play-ins, they're getting shut out early. Entity as well, having a rough time of it on the northern side now.
Already 2 big names now. You got Soul, Orange Rock, like you say, John. But this is a mega fight going on here between 0 Degree, Megastars, and Zero. It's just incredible. So I think all these players now trying to make their way in past the road, like Entity, they're going to have such a serious problems getting in here.
Everyone really struggling. You can see the players are starting to drop like flies. It's Zone 5, which I lovingly refer to as the Thanos circle. Half the lobby just disappears right before your very eyes. We're down to 35 players, 11 teams as Entity get eliminated on the northern side. They won't be putting up the numbers just yet.
ETG Brawlers are so happy with his position. Look at the 360 degrees that they have around here. 0 Degree, they have a nice little compound, as do 8-Bit right now.
Wow.
But this is the fight that I'm really looking at. Mega X now out 2.
So many teams going down. We're down to 9. 0 Degree in one of these buildings, just opposite Synergy Retribution. We're still going strong. And really, the heavy hitters so far, I'd say, have been eliminated in this fight. So it is very much up for grabs to try and strike out early here in the play-ins.
Yeah, 100%. Now we're down to the teams that we just did not expect to be sticking around this long. We were looking at Seoul, we were looking at Orange Rock, we were looking at Mega X. All three, the big three is now out here from these groups.
The team that Dave actually predicted here is still in, though. Dave's the only one with a horse in the race at the moment over on the desk. 8-bit, 3 players alive, still going strong. See what they're able to do. ETG Brawlers atop their hill, very much remaining dominant with some oversight here, getting a lot done, controlling these rotations. Insane as well, just on the off chance, trying to displace them a little bit.
Really, they only have to control the rotations closest to them, and currently that is 8-bit, because everywhere else, if you try and scale this hill, other teams will be shooting at you, and that will give the alarm bells for ETG Brawlers. So they've got guard dogs all around them, just barking at the teams coming at the hill. So there's such a strong position right now. If you had to put money on anyone winning this one, it would definitely be ETG Brawlers.
Well, they've just taken a knock, actually, over from the sidelines. They won't be able to pick that one up, but I agree with you. Definitely the strongest position in my eyes right now. The circle will be shifting in just a little bit, but it's only really going to be Godlike who have to move in.
This is a good nade, actually,
from the
ETG.
buildings.
Dark throws it down.
Over onto RV.
Doesn't actually hit anything.
Is it going to pop? Not too sure if it found too much. Oh dear. Synergy Retribution. Not having the best of time. The nades coming back from Insane, though. Oh, no. 8-bit nade themselves as well. That's disastrous. The problem with having such a strong position for the ETG Brawlers is there's 7 other teams all looking to try and take it down as well.
Everyone else wants this right now. Godlike, they're almost definitely donezo here. 0 Degree have a great read on them. Now they're all going to flood out and try and clear these players in the back. Great shot from God there.
Going to be able to take one down. 0 Degree continuing to push on forwards as teams get eliminated. That's Mega X going down. 9th place. Synergy Retribution down to 2 players. ETG Brawlers atop the hill with all 4 alive, but one of them is down.
Pro 10 on a sliver of HP. This man is on life support right now. We'll see what he can do with it. First kit does get applied. Wonderful play from 0 Degree, though. They know there's players behind them and players in front. So what do you do first? You always clear out the backside before you have to move forward. You never want to get stabbed in the back. Next circle pops. It goes over towards Megastars right now. ETG Brawlers are just a little bit out of it, though.
Just a little bit. I'll have to make something happen. 8-bit still in it as well. Just behind them. So speaking of the strategy you were talking about before, Blank, ETG Brawlers have to be careful of 8-bit's position. Not only that, they have to be worried about Insane. Whose fight do they take?
There's so many players around them right now. Insane have some good sightlines onto them, as do 0 Degree, but now they're cutting them off with their own smokes. They know they have to make a way in. 8-bit down here, though. Oh, what a spin!
Oh, it's just Ash. He's got to go for the spray. Is not going to be able to convert. It is the ETG Brawlers to wipe them out. They are continuing to reign dominance from above. Only one is down. They'll be able to res that one up. And we're down to 6 teams now, Blank.
Sangwan had such a swivel on his head there to catch that player out. Synergy E have found themselves a nice little position. The 2-2 split, I am really quite happy with right now. Strider and Major Alpha can provide so much cover towards the 2 players currently in that little ditch over there, and they're just going to control that space. Team Insane have a good position here to play spoiler, though. ETG Brawlers have a little lip of their hill to play from. So really, everyone's got nice positions because there's so much, like, I guess, moving terrain over this last circle.
Yeah, there's a lot of undulations, a lot of defilades to play in, but Synergy E with that sort of split positioning at the moment, controlling so much of it. They've really displaced the ETG Brawlers from that hillside in quite dramatic fashion. It looks like ETG Brawlers are going to break out wide as well. They know that Insane have just been knocked once, so they are down to 2 players alive and kicking. 0 Degree going to catch a little bit of lead as well. There's everybody now vying for this push. It's going to be deadly. It's going to be quite a fight.
changed as well, but currently the Synergy E are doing really well. What a wonderful start of the day it would be to end group stages with a miracle chicken dinner and then come into play-ins and get another chicken dinner here.
It would be pretty spectacular. Obviously, 2 games being played on this current matchup of groups, so they'll have to try and push through to the second to get another one on board. We're down to 5 teams. 8 kills already for the ETG Brawlers, a really huge number being posted. No matter what, they've had a great game. Everybody else really who's left alive, a similar story.
ETG Brawlers done a really good job to keep all 4 members alive, and I like this little... They've got a wave going on here, which is going to just collapse over the rest of the team as they just push on over as a squad. Megastar's now taking a lot of fire from over the side from 0 Degree.
Oh, trades going off between Insane and ETG Brawlers. Back and forth, and the Brawlers finally lose one. They're down to 3 now. The Megastars, in the meantime, they're pushing over. They're trying to wipe out 0 Degree. Only 2 players for them, and they will be able to eliminate Insane in the process. 0 Degree now. Still alive. 10 kills for them. The Brawlers with 10 as well. Now just going to continue to get pushed on through. Now it's down to the big 2 from these final circles. The Brawlers and Synergy E clapping at each other.
Major Alpha's had some really good sprays so far, just perfectly understanding where these players are posted at. He does not want to move a muscle right now. Austin has ridiculously good position here. So much cover just to pop up and use that like elevator position to get a better eye line over the top of these players. But this Gilisu on Nova could prove crucial. They still hold the high ground, but that's Major Alpha down. 3v1 now, John.
It's so tricky to win these. Austin can try and get it. He's in the dirt. He's trying to go for the spray. He's on the floor, and he will stay there. It is the Brawlers. They will take it home. Game number 1 for the play-ins goes their way.
Look how happy these boys are right now. And it's not the team that we expected to come out on top, but here they are today. What a wonderful performance from them. I said in the beginning, they definitely didn't have the performance they wanted in group stages, not the one I expected at least, but here they are bringing it in the play-ins, John.
Everything's gone topsy-turvy in the first game, and this is the excitement that a LAN tournament can bring you. So great to have these teams here, and when you put them under pressure, the diamonds form. It's going to be ETG Brawlers on the first.
It's crazy here, though, John, because it's funny to see, because Dave mentioned on desk the LAN jitters, but some teams, they get the LAN power boost.
Oh yeah.
Some of these teams love to be in the limelight. They love the cheer of the crowd, and they bask in it. So very, very well played to ETG Brawlers here. Similarly to Synergy E, I think they took a really good position. The 2-2 split was bold, but I liked it. I think it did come back to bite them in the end because they just could not control that high ground so well. And I think when the circle ended up there and really ETG Brawlers continued to control that high ground where they could just look down upon those players beneath, Austin couldn't really take advantage of that position. I think maybe he could have popped up sooner, but again, these are minor mistakes, which in the moment are very hard to fix.
It's so difficult to overcome a man disadvantage in those final circles. It is just so tricky. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it, but they still have a great game on the cards. I think they got 7 kills at the end of it, across it. So that's second place with 7 kills, bring them up to 21 points total. A really, really nice scoreline for them to kick off their showing.
Now, you said it there, it's so hard when you're man down trying to fight back. And if we look to the final, I think it was the group stages, maybe the semi-finals of the NA PMCO, right? There was only one team that I've seen throughout the entirety of the PMCO that I've watched was Pittsburgh Knights, who were able to pull off a 3v1. So anywhere else, I've never seen it. So that man advantage, like you say, is hugely important and something that you guys have to watch out for at home. As soon as a player goes down, unless a response comes through very quickly, whilst you know where that player is, you are more than likely going to lose that matchup.
Yeah. For reference, we're looking for the top 16 teams here, right? Which means that we need to sort of look at how many points each of these teams are going to get on average over the course of their 8 games that each team is playing.
Yeah.
Generally, you're looking around, if you're over 8, that should, in theory, if you crunch the numbers, that should, in theory, be where your benchmark is to try and make it into those final stages. You want to be in the top 2/3 of the teams here, right?
Yeah.
So 9 points on average should see you through. You want to be breaking 10 in order to solidify your spot in those regional finals from the Playins.
Well, the Mega Stars in front of us there, walking out, looking to make a few adjustments. They did get very unlucky. They came down from Severny and the circle just wouldn't stop moving away from them. And especially when you come down to Yas9, it's the fields, you want to come through there. You are taking so much heavy fire, and at best you're going to lose a player and make your way in, but they just kept having to walk forward, sludging down past Yas9, really pulling on the boots there. So quite unfortunate for them. But going forward, I think we're going to be playing on maps where maybe these teams aren't so comfortable anymore, because we're no longer in our Erangel. We're going to be playing Vikendi, Sanhok, and Miramar for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how these players shape up, and is it something they've worked on in their downtime?
That's what we're going to have to look out for. Obviously, only 8 games to play for each of these teams in the play-ins. There's 12 games total, but of course we've got 3 groups, so we do have to swap them in and out. Each team taking 4 games as a break. Entity really didn't have the sort of showing that I wanted from them in the start here, not getting super far into these circles, not having the same sort of impact. But we are going to be heading back over to our analyst desk to tell us exactly what they made of that circle, what they thought about those final games and the final throws. So back over to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, that was a very hectic and crazy game, considering the favorites that we talked about for it feels like half an hour here on the desk, dropping out so early. And speaking of dropping out early, Sandu, the first one to go down, the highest fragger from the group stage, he didn't make it past the first couple minutes.
See, when you take a loss like that as Orange Rock, it's really difficult to recover. And especially if you're a team like Orange Rock that relies on having 4 people onto the very end, they have the system that they want to keep going. But if you take somebody, if you take Sandu out of the picture that early on, you're going to struggle for the rest of the game. And we clearly saw that. They got out second out of everybody else in the whole game.
Yeah, so check out these highlights real quick. ETG Brawlers, they did have an interesting hole. They were doing a 3-1 split. They lost that one solo member that did go up to the north, leaving them with just 3 members alive. I was getting a little nervous for them. Yes, they had the high ground. Yes, they had some smokes utility. We did have Austin over there trying to play spoiler, getting some nice shots onto one of the members onto Dark, but just not able to confirm any kills off that. Good try.
I do have to say that EDG, their positioning in that last game was immaculate. I mean, all throughout, finding the right hills, just sort of positioned themselves on. And they actually, to be honest, they got a little bit lucky with the circle. They never really had to readjust. And when they did, it was very minimal amounts. That definitely kept them alive. But being coordinated as they were, taking the fights they needed to take, that kept them alive long enough to win them the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was circle number 5, right? They were blessed by the circle gods, I'm going to say, but they utilized their positioning so well. They had 4 vehicles. They made a little fort. They had a 360-degree angles held onto them, so they had to protect their sides, all sides. Then we kind of saw them play King of the Hill, I want to say. What was it? There was Insane, SGE, and 8-Bit all trying to kind of get up there on top of the hill. They were doing a great job of keeping them at bay, making sure they don't push onto them. I believe that was the play that kind of secured them the kill, because after that hill secure, they were able to move on into late game with 4 alive.
Now, speaking of praying to the circle gods, one team we have to talk about, as you heard John mention it, is Entity. They were in Yasnaya, they landed there, they had the zone for the first 4 circles, then eventually they moved out. But this is the team that dropped out in 12th place. This is the team that basically had everything they needed going into this actual round, and yet they fell early.
Yeah, you know, the thing with Yasnaya is moving out of Yasnaya is basically a death trap. You have all those wide open fields, and I think the only thing you have to covering you is a Harry Potter tower here and there, and maybe now and then a hay bale. That's it. Everything else, you'll have to have vehicles. Aside from that, you're sitting ducks. That's basically what happened to them, and unfortunately, they took a loss so early on.
So talking about taking losses, all right? They went out in 12th. Trusty Process, one of my squads I was looking for, getting taken down in 16th position there. Unfortunate. Yeah. But I want to say, game number 1, we had 4 squads drop military base. I mean, that's kind of unusual in my opinion. But let's go check out the leaderboards. Here's 1st through 8th place, ETG Brawlers getting 33 points, 20 replacement, 13 kills in game number 1.
That's a lot. I mean, those kills are immense. Basically, you're almost winning a whole game right there.
Mm-hmm. It's almost a chicken.
It's almost a chicken dinner, exactly. I mean, Synergy, they're not that far behind, but the fact is that because of the amount of kills and placements that they got, they're actually separated by 12 whole points. That is a lot of points.
Now, in 3rd place, 0 Degree. They got 10th for placement points, 10 kills. I'm going to call them the Dream Crushers out here in game number 1. They held such a phenomenal compound. They were able to keep Orange Rock from crashing them, all right? Yes, Orange Rock, they only had 3 when they made the crash, but they took them out. And then on top of that, they also took out Seoul.
Yeah.
So they were crushing dreams in game number 1.
They're the giant killers at this point.
Exactly.
It's so interesting to me that in this one position, when you have Team Seoul and Orange Rock in one place, neither of them come out on top. Usually you'd expect to see one or the other, but that's definitely not what happened. They got taken out in the compound, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what happened with Seoul there. You did mention it. I want to go back on it. Mortal charging into that compound all alone without any backup, no potential for trades. That's a very big question mark for me.
He had the flag. He's like, follow me to victory!
And everyone's like, did that guy just Leroy Jenkins into the whole place?
Leroy!
Well, I mean, speaking of Seoul and speaking of Orange Rock, one thing we're not seeing on the top 8 is them. And we have to go to the second page of results to actually see them currently. And Seoul, Orange Rock, Trusted Process, all tied currently for last place.
Yep, I mean, they got 1 point for placements because if you can recall, 11th through 16th will be getting you 1 point. We do see Rip Official and Entity above them because they did get 1 kill. Elementrix with 1 kill as well. 8-Bit with 5 placement points, no kills. And then Orb Official, 3 placement points, 2 kills.
I just have to say this is a really interesting way to start the day with everybody we expect to be on top of the very bottom. And I feel like this might have something to do with the fact that everybody tried to play their own play style. Everybody wanted to play aggressive. We saw teams drop in military base. No one wanted to compromise. And I feel like that's a lot of the reason why we saw so many skirmishes earlier on.
Yeah, so we saw it was Orb. They were down there at the bottom leaderboard. But I gotta say, you know, they used the unfavorable circle, right? Because they did drop military base, but they were proactive with it. They went and camped the East Bridge, so they still got taken out early, but they were able to get a couple kills in the process. I believe they ended up taking out 1 or 2 from Trusty Process. So that goes to show you how important these kills are because they were able to outplace those squads that went out before them.
I think they bridge camped them at the very start right there. They lost 3 on the side of Trust the Process. And so it just goes to show that still bridges are being camped. It's not just in pub games.
And then Insane was camping the West Bridge. So regardless, I mean, both bridges were camped. Maybe you could take a vehicle, kind of just hope and pray that the aim's not on point, or take a boat. We didn't see any boat play, which I was actually surprised about. I guess maybe the time was pressed over here in game number 1.
Well, speaking of game number 1, let's actually take a look at our top 5 plays of what went down in that first match, because we obviously had quite a few of them. And one thing I want to mention while we're looking at some of these is the fact that UTG Brawlers, they finished 15th back in spring. Still keeping the same roster. They were 19th in groups, and they come out to win the first game of the day. That's a fantastic start.
And we're going to see 6 kills, 732 damage in 1 game. Going to be racking up the kills for game number 1. And then behind them, you got 5 kills, 4 kills, 4 kills, and then 3. So definitely a confidence booster coming into day number 1, game number 1. You're already fragging out. You're already putting numbers on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to point out, Major Alpha getting 780 damage right there with only 4 kills though, but still, it just goes to show how aggressive these guys still want to play. Major Alpha, he's looking very good, and Team Synergy, I know we haven't discussed them a lot either, but I feel like right now everybody's sort of looking at, oh, who are these guys? EDG Brawler, Synergy, we have to keep an eye on them too now. Suddenly the playing field is wide open.
Well, the fact is, going into the 7th zone, they were the only 2 teams with all 4 players left alive. So that kind of shows they're really focused on getting the placings, getting the positions against the teams, and then using that to their advantage.
Yeah, they're kind of snaking it out compared to ETG, who were being proactive with it. They were all standing up, trying to survey the area, trying to make sure to clean out these snakes because they learned their lesson when they lost that one member that did do that split. They were taken down pretty early on when it comes to that. We'll see, though. I mean, like you said, some names that, I mean, none of us expected, at least in game number 1.
And looking at only game number 1 now done, that's the first match of all these teams, 7 or 8 matches in total. They have 7 left to go, and they've already had at least 4 Orange Rock and Team Seoul at the bottom of the table. Now, if you're them, if you're playing as their team, do you start to get more aggressive now? Do you still try to play, maybe like that was just a one-off, right? It was just a bad start for you. Do you go into the next map and you play the same style, or do you change things up?
I feel like this is when expertise and experience comes into the picture for most veteran teams right here. More veteran teams should know that they shouldn't let this get into their head, that this is just probably just a one-off, that their performance isn't usually like this. So they have to mentally reset themselves, and this is where you see the mental fortitude of players start to come in. They need to be able to say, okay, we had an off game, we'll come back into the next one and do that much better.
Yeah, I mean, don't let it tilt you. Maybe forget about it. We'll talk about it later at the end of the day when we review the VODs, but you got to take every game fresh, you know, stay confident with that momentum. You brought up Orange Rock, I believe. Early on, they were fighting in containers against RIP. They lost one early on. I did like that they were playing extremely passive as they only had 3 members alive. They pushed into, I believe, zone 3 and 4 pretty late. We saw them kind of in a skirmish for a crate with Seoul, that was pretty interesting. And then, like we said, 0 Degree just cleaning up those teams in the West.
But the problem is, for me, Orange Rock, when I look at Orange Rock, their playstyle is known for me to be very tactical. They like to clear the map together, getting kills as they go through, and then holding the center. Problem is, we saw none of that. Because of the fact that they lost Sanhok early, I feel like that affected their confidence by so much that they didn't take any fights at all.
Yeah, we'll see, because yesterday, speaking to Orange Rock, they said, okay, if we do good games 1 and 2, if we're in first place, you know, top 5 on leaderboards, we're probably going to play a little passive, try to get some compounds, try to camp it out. But if we do have some poor games early on, we're going to have to put full metal to the floor, right? Guns blazing, aggression, you know, they're going to be rushing everything. So we'll see if they're going to live up to what they told us yesterday, at least.
Yeah, we'll find out. That does wrap out our first game with a nice little bow as we head into a short break. And when we come back, we're switching things up. We're heading over to Vikendi.
You from becoming the real deal. Fast downloading. They always get into the field quicker than you. Falling behind? No, not gonna happen. Stay calm and be cool. Nothing will stand in your way. A true hero must step up to defeat the enemies when there's no one to count on. Vivo Multi-Turbo. A real strong core makes you a real professional player.
Welcome to the PUBG Mobile Lite Halo Weeks. We're happy to bring you our Halloween-themed mode, Survive Till Dawn. In this new mode, players will undergo 3 days and 2 nights of harsh trials. Survive the attacks of zombies and other survivors to become the last person standing. Do you want to see dawn break on the 3rd day? Then you'd better remember the following tips for survival. Collect as many supplies as you can during the day. You can never have too much ammo or medicine. Before night falls, search for a good building to hide in and prepare your defenses. Zombies appear during the night. The zombies can find you no matter where you hide. So your best tactic to fight the zombies right now is to squat inside a room with only one exit and kill the zombies with cover from your teammates. We've prepared an even greater surprise for you. Other than the normal zombies, a mysterious organization will use airdrops to distribute their biochemical experiment, Playins. This powerful elite zombie descends from the sky and tries to kill all enemies within sight. The greater the danger, the greater the rewards. The map shows your repayment will drop from the sky. Kill it to get powerful weapons as your reward. the M134 minigun and flamethrower. These two survival Till Dawn exclusive weapons can definitely help you survive these 3 days and 2 nights. But remember, zombies aren't your only enemies, as other survivors are also a threat to you, so don't hesitate to eliminate them. Once you manage to survive, you'll get the unique achievement Until Dawn. Team up with your teammates to play Survive Till Dawn during Halo Weeks.
Welcome back, everyone, as we have that first game done and dusted. Now we're moving over onto a little bit of a chillier map, over onto Vikendi. We already had ETG Brawlers taking home the first chicken dinner of the day. Now with still 5 more games to come up, looking forward to Vikendi. How are the teams going to switch mentally into this next map?
Yeah, normally I'd say Vikendi should level the playing field a little bit more because not everybody practices Vikendi a lot. I mean, I'm sure some teams do, but you know, the thing is, Vikendi is normally a place where you level the playing field. Problem is, it's hard to say that because of what happened last game when all of the teams sort of just fell apart, all the top teams at the very least, and we see new teams that we never really expected rise to the top.
Yeah, so early game, I'm going to suspect we might have some, you know, early skirmishes just because squads aren't familiar with their map awareness. They're going to be caught off guard possibly. Then mid-game, kind of a lull moment as teams are going to be in compound, just camping out. Late game is going to blow up. I'm going to put it on the record right now. Circle number 7, I want to say we'll have 12 teams.
Really?
Circle 7. Really? Hold me to it. Hold me to it. Write it down in the book. Circle 7, 12 teams. Vikendi. Let's see if I'm right. So Orange Rock, Soul, Mega X.
If you're wrong, you shave the mustache.
No. Orange Rock, Soul, Mega X. Challenging game number 1. All right. Rough start, like you mentioned before the break. Hopefully they don't let this tilt them.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't imagine so. I imagine that these teams will be prepared for this kind of thing to happen, that they get relatively unlucky and they get taken out early. Question is, however, what will they do come to Vikendi? Do they want to play it more aggressive? Do they want to play it a little bit more safe, a little bit more passive? I'm thinking, and in my opinion, always the best way to go about it is to just play your game. Don't think about how you placed last one. Just keep doing it, because the more you think about the last game, the more it sort of tilts you.
Yeah, and then BTG Brawlers. The momentum. They had, what, 13 kills in game number 1. Whatever juice they drink this morning, hopefully they're backstage drinking some more of that juice. Going to be coming into this next game still juiced out their minds, getting more kills because, my goodness. I mean, like you said, 13 kills, almost a chicken dinner. So they practically got like 1.5 already?
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. It's like 33 points. That's crazy. But the thing is that I did want to point out as well, they did get a little bit lucky. So the hill that they were actually on...
Ah, come on. Lucky?
Well, very lucky, to be honest.
I mean,
like, the hill that they were
doubled
on,
down on that one. Not only lucky, very lucky.
They were very lucky. Look, the hill they were on, they were all prone. And because of TPP mode, they could see all the other snakes in the grass so much easier.
They had to hold the hill, though. Yes, they had vehicles, but think about it. These other squads that are trying to push up the hill, they could just toss some mollies, toss some grenades. There you go. Prone in the grass or not, you're going to be dead. So they did a good job at holding those teams at bay down there on the low ground. Now, if they did get pushed, then that would have been another story if they weren't able to defend themselves.
Yeah, but they were.
Lucky. Yes, they got the top of the hill. I kind of agree. But what they did with that luck is what was important, in my opinion.
I'm going to agree because not only did they hold that extremely lucky position, they were also able to fight it out and survive to the very end, completing having a complete roster of 4, which was actually not the easiest thing considering that, as you said, they were surrounded by like 6 or 7 squads at the last circle. That's
very
not
important.
easy.
So maybe we'll find out in this next game if it was just lucky from them or if this is something that we should expect from the ETG Brawlers.
Well, actually, we luckily get to actually have an opportunity to see back to the circles from that last match as well. Just kind of see some highlights of what went down. And obviously being top of the hill was very good for ETG. And I kind of want to ask you guys while we watch this video is, now if you're ETG Brawlers, do you kind of look at this as, all right, the first game's done. Like, we won. We have so much pressure off our shoulders. Do you think they're going to play a little bit more passive now and just go for placings, or do you still think they're going to play the way they've been playing before?
You know, I think there's actually more pressure on their shoulders now. Just everybody was looking at them like, oh my god, who are these guys? Where do they come from? They just demolished everybody, 13 kills in the first game. Now everybody's started looking at them.
Exactly. I think the pressure is actually amplified, like you mentioned. Yes, you know, coming out the gates hot is good, but what you do with that spicy fire in your belly is what's important here. You don't want to let it go to nothing, pretty much.
Not too early, at least.
Not too early.
You want to keep that fiery belly for a little bit.
I mean, you want to keep the other teams on their toes as well. You want to keep whatever advantage you got. I mean, maybe the other squads are kind of fearful right now of our squad, the Brawlers.
But
it's the fear in their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But it can't get into their heads. I mean, the fact that they won.
Oh, they can't get ego.
They can't get ego.
Don't
exactly.
get egos on us.
Yeah,
Brawlers.
exactly. So they might be thinking, oh, we're hot stuff right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I already asked them for an autograph. They're like, nah, I can't right now.
Oh,
so
that's
it's mini ego, but it's a 13-kill game. I understand.
I mean, I got one.
You do got one.
No, I got not an ego. No, I actually got an autograph from them already. So
Oh, and an ego though. So you got
a little bit. I mean, I have to when you're this tall. You kind of have to have one.
7'5".
Yeah, 7'5". He's gonna keep growing over the course of today. But obviously, looking at the bottom teams, you have Team Seoul. Like this is a team who won in spring. They won back in June and already off to. I don't want to be too mean, but not a great start.
Okay, the thing with Team Seoul and what happened was, it just goes to show how cutthroat this whole tournament can be. You make one mistake, Mortal pushes in alone one time, and his whole team goes down around him. That's absolutely, harsh for just one mistake to be taken out completely.
But that's the thing. One mistake. You have 8 games total to play. You can't afford to be making mistakes like this.
Maybe the team comms got a little cluttered at the end when Mortal did go down and out right there, because circles 1 and 2, they were smack in the middle. I was actually kind of favoring them based off of that, but then we saw the yoink all the way down there to the south, I believe, like circle number 5, and that's when they had to make that push, and 0 Degree was holding that compound. I would like to maybe ask them later on today why they pushed that compound in particular.
So I remember seeing Mortal went down, but they also had Clutch God was down as well, outside behind one of the vehicles.
So they got knocked.
So they kind of had like a rough position of like, well, do we go and save Viper, try to go around towards Mortal? If he got taken down, then eventually.
Yeah, and Mortal was fighting a 2v1 inside, so he wasn't having a good time either. I do want to point out, actually, 0 Degree. They are not a team that we particularly discussed earlier, but they actually had an insane game. They were taking out team after team after team.
Yeah, I think, 10 kills, right? So they were holding that compound pretty good. But then when they had to push out of the compound, things kind of fell apart. They weren't planning ahead, I feel like. Like, they were feeling confident. They kept getting blessed by the circles. Oh, we're still in it, boys. Let's keep racking the kills. But they weren't thinking like, okay, if the circle doesn't pop on us, how do we get out of here? And we saw that happen.
Normally, you'll probably see some sort of smoke execute to help them get out, throw in a bunch of smoke grenades. Didn't really see that. They kind of just walked out and got yeeted off.
Or some vehicles parked like on the sides to hide the wheels. Like a backup plan.
Exactly.
Just a plan to make it on out of
or
the
like
compound.
Have someone scout out a path to get out. There was nothing.
Exactly. So they were just, I believe, I want to say, living in the moment. I guess that's the correct term.
They're YOLOing it.
YOLO.
That's what you mean.
Oh man, you guys really had to say yellow. Anyways, though, we obviously talked a ton about ETG Brawlers, but luckily we have a little bit of an interview with them. We can take a little bit of a look into the team and obviously learn some more about the first team who took home a chicken dinner.
PMCO South Asia Finals team interviews और अभी हमारे साथ मौजूद है ETG Brawlers की टीम. So thank you guys so much अपना टाइम निकालने के लिए इस इंटरव्यू के लिए. And एक बेसिक से क्वेश्चन से स्टार्ट करते हैं about introductions.
So my name is Vinay and my in-game name is ETG Brawl Iconic and my role in game is assaulting and I'm from Delhi.
My name is Dhruv. My role is IGL. I'm from Delhi.
My name is Rahul. My in-game name is ETG Brawl Nova. And my in-game purpose is assaulting.
My name is Ritik and my in-game name is ETG Brawl Dark and my role is support.
Right. So अभी तक qualifiers का जो journey था सारी teams का काफी intense था और experience काफी सारी teams के लिए काफी नया था. आप लोगों के लिए कैसा experience था qualifiers में?
At the start में जब qualifier start हुए थे तो पहले few games like पहले 2 दिन हमारे कुछ खास नहीं गए थे लेकिन third day we kind of made a comeback and we were in the top 24. So I guess it was very thrilling.
जैसे final circle में अगर किसी team से लड़ना हो तो या तो final circle पे किसी team को avoid करना हो
तो avoid तो पूरी team नहीं कर सकते जिससे fight लेने की कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. We have confidence तो मार सकते हैं and साथ में जो चाहिए team final circle में I would say MX.
मतलब क्यों?
Because actually we are good friends plus उनका game play अच्छा है मतलब बहुत deserving लोग हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा. बहुत last time they were I think they came as LAFP if you guys know. तो उनके बाद उनका performance बहुत improve हुआ है बहुत ज़्यादा exponentially उनका game improve हुआ है और उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा perform किया है. तो उनसे लड़ने में मज़ा आता है. They have skills. They have good skills.
तो अगर दोस्त हो और अच्छा खेलते हो तो अलग ही बात.
Because वैसे friends and in-game rivals, best चीज.
वो थोड़ा Dragon Ball Z वाला moment. Okay, so how do you guys see your future with this team? I mean, आप लोग काफी टाइम से साथ में खेल रहे हो, तो आगे के बारे में क्या प्लान है?
Actually, अभी PMCO तो इस पे फोकस है. आगे का nobody knows क्या हो सकता है आगे. Because कुछ लोगों का खेलने का मन ना करे तो they might leave the sport. और else किसी का कहीं और जाने का मन करे तो they can go. But हमारा main काम ये है जो present पे फोकस करना है. तो we have to focus at PMCO right now. बाकी कुछ दिमाग में है नहीं हमारा.
आगे का अभी बस just go with the flow.
Yes.
अच्छा, तो Iconic Nova, ये आपके लिए question है. ये वाला जो brawlers का lineup था और ETG brawlers ना, how is this different from the Dreamers का जो lineup था आपका पहले का?
Actually, that lineup was kind of spontaneously made. We only had like 3 to 4 days to make that lineup, and 2 of the players were kind of FPP players in that lineup, Experiment and Eco. They were very, very good at FPP, but the tournament that we usually play, like in PMCO or some other tournament like PMS and all, every single tournament is TPP based. So it was kind of mixed team, FPP and TPP. Rest Iconic can tell.
Well, this team is totally like I would say more specialized in TPP format. और अभी जितने भी tournaments हो रहे हैं ये सारे TPP format पे ज़्यादा focus हो रहा है. तो obviously better chance.
Yeah, that
FPP और TPP game में बहुत difference है.
हाँ, difference तो काफी है. और अगर majority tournament जैसा आपने कहा कि TPP हो रहे हैं.
And there's a thing like FPP players, they cannot take TPP also in a match. उन लोग घुस के मारना पसंद है. और TPP में जो बंदा पीछे खड़ा होकर TPP ले रहा होगा और घुस के मारोगे तो बस खत्म.
Information पहले पता चल जाती है.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay. So आखिरी question. A message to either your fans, your girlfriends, family.
Girlfriends होती तो मजा आता.
Well, it's nice to learn a little bit more about the team, but one thing that really confuses me, you talked about Sander earlier on with Orange Rock, and he top fragged 35 kills in the group stage. Then you have Dark there, who top fragged in the last game, and they're both supports.
Hey, yeah.
What is that about supports, right? Yeah. I don't understand.
I think it's just something you say, so if you don't do as well, it's like, oh, I'm the support, I'm supposed to get the information for the squad, but if you're like fragging out, like, hey guys, I'm the support, what are you doing? You're the fraggers, you're the assaulters, you're the rushers. How come I'm out fragging you?
Yeah, he's pretty much got it right. That's
So
pretty much
BM.
it. Yeah. I do want to point out something really quick though. This lineup from EDG Brawlers, they actually did mention a team called the Dreamers before. That was one of the teams that used to underperform a lot, with somebody called Experiment, who was one of my co-casters before. Now it seems like they're living up to their full potential with this new roster. So I'm excited to see if they bring it in the next game.
Now I understand why he got into casting. If they didn't do too well for them. But then again, they talked about like baby steps within the team. They're kind of just focused on one thing at a time, and what a way to make your first step here in the tournament by winning the first whole group, or the first whole game.
I do like how in the interview they mentioned if a squad takes the fight to them, they're going to bite back. They're not going to hold back. They're not going to be passive in a compound. They're going to take the fight to them and get the respect here in game number 1. I believe they did that. They're also looking for girlfriends, they said at the end. So, you know, if you're out there in the stands.
Ladies,
yeah.
And if you're out there, and obviously you guys can come down. If you're actually in the area, it's free to come in. It's free to actually walk in, sit down the stage, you know, watch, well, on the stage, hopefully you're going to stay in the seats. Yeah. Because the stage is for players only.
You
We're
might
not
get
even allowed
tackled.
up there.
Yeah, you might get tackled if you run on the stage.
I would love to see that, just you mid like talking on the analysis desk. Take your headset off and just go tackle them.
No, I'm not the one tackling.
Oh, you're not tackling.
We got security everywhere.
Okay, all right. We'll make sure, obviously, to come by if you are in the area. But now moving into Vikendi, we need to start maybe to look at predictions. And I want to say, I guess predictions aside, of if you're one of those teams who underperformed in that first game, you might have to start to look to be a little bit more aggressive. Like, you only have, again, to reiterate the point, because it's so important, 8 matches in total to play.
I think the most important thing is to not let it tilt them, though. Like, if you're Team Soul, if you're Team Orange Rock, just don't think about it. Just get it out of your system. If you need to play more aggressive, if you feel like you need to play more aggressive, just go ahead and do it. But whatever you do, don't think about the last game.
I mean, the main goal, top 16. Right, you mentioned one game is already down, so these teams here in some of these groups only have 7 games to go. I personally believe you can have 1 poor game, maybe 2 poor games. After that, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge to get top 16.
I'm going to agree. I think 2 poor games,
games
as long
is
as
the
you
cutoff.
get kills.
Exactly.
As long as you get some kills, you got something going your way. Because the chicken dinners, they're not as big as they used to be anyway. So go for those kills, play aggressive, and I think we hope to see that's what Orange Rock are probably going to do.
And they're good at killing.
Yeah,
they're
and
good at
that's
getting
the
those
thing.
frags.
Yeah, they need to be able to go and take those frags because they are an aggressive team. If they deviate from that playstyle that they're so good at, clearly see it's not going to work.
And then Team Seoul, they also promised that they're going to be a little more aggressive here today at the event. So hopefully they can frag out as well, make up for those lost points in the previous game.
So our predictions were wrong the first time. Give me some quick predictions for game 2.
Sure. Orange Rock.
Orange Rock, I'm going with Brawlers because they got full-blown momentum right now.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on them in the first game, taking on the chicken dinner. We're going to find out if they can do it yet again with John Allen and Blake to bring us through the game.
Hark, the winds of change are whirling and swirling around the tournaments as obviously last game. A little bit more chaos, a little bit underestimated teams coming through, shining, showing us exactly what they've got. But hopefully we're going to be able to find a firm footing here over on Vikendi. My name's John Allen. With me is Xander. We're going to be guiding you through today's games.
It was an interesting first game there. Quite the ruckus was made by a lot of the teams that we initially saw at the bottom of the group stages. So exciting going forwards, guys. So again, like the voice said on the desk, if you are in the area, you can come down to the JHADAV arena. It's just free to come in.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Oh yeah,
it's loads of fun. The stage is insane.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It is a fantastic stage, and it's a fantastic plane path heading over the top of Vikendi. We do spot out quite a few available locations here, Brian.
Yeah, on this one, it's fairly easy once again. It's kind of like the north to south plane path we saw from Erangel. This was kind of kind. I'm not sure if I'm going to say it's a cruel circle. It's the tends to be the rule, right? But we had an exception there. Maybe we get an exception again. Obviously, most players on Vikendi, you can move to wherever you want because rotating in is not too hard. There is a lot of vehicles to move behind. There's a lot of cover to work with. So making it to that first circle is not difficult. The question comes that if you make it in the first circle, you have to choose a compound. You have to choose a compound where you want to stick, you want to stay. And if the circle moves away from you, then the onus is on you to move, right? And moving through towns which are now occupied becomes really difficult. You got to be super sneaky about it.
Oh yeah, got to make sure you remain in cover. The boys on the desk are talking about predictions. Blank, I'm going to ask you, who are you looking at now that we've seen some of these drop locations come through? Who are you thinking is going to have a good time of it? Maybe we'll wait until the first circle pops.
I think
and then we'll give predictions.
First circle, and we'll go for predictions.
We'll give our first circle predictions.
Everyone is pretty much everywhere right now. Elementrix, though, they're on top of Synergy E. Seoul is just to the north of them. The castle is probably the point of contention in between Synergy E and Elementrix. Trusted Process, this is what I'm saying.
Whoa.
That's what I said. It's a nice playing path. You get a cruel circle now. It's very difficult to decide who's going to win this, but I think Orange Rock can have a nice swing about on the top side. So you know what? I'm going to go with Orange Rock for this game, John.
All right, bold prediction. You don't think that the Mega X are going to be able to fight through literally every other team and make it all the way to the top? No?
Oh, I have some faith.
Okay,
but
some
not
faith.
a lot.
No, maybe not. We'll see. I do like how Seoul, every game, every map, every style, they always play a central position, which means that even in circles like this, they're not too far off. They could still get an early push. And what they were talking about before with optimizing their loot time, being able to get out a little bit earlier and being able to get over there is actually going to be really, really important, right? It's going to be super impactful because then they can start to take advantage of that central position. Because if you aren't looting fast in a central position, you lose the power that central position gives you.
Absolutely, John. So Seoul, they've got to loot up, get out of there, take that position. For everyone on the south side, they're much, much more difficult to deal with. Seoul already entering into this one with a frag onto Elementrix. I believe that was Mr. Hyozu going down there. Very unfortunate. Orange Rock, though, is the team that I've got my eyes on. They have to move past Entity, which is the major thing for me. But they do have Rip Official in the wings. That was the team, remember, who were the first to take out Marvi in the first game. Now, Marvi is an excellent scout on Orange Rock. Losing him was a big blow to Orange Rock for the first game. He's one of the players that you almost always see at the end of the games.
Yeah, he's such an intelligent player. They are really going to struggle without him at their back. Although, to be fair, he's still in the game. He can still communicate with the team. Make sure that he is feeding all that information. Marvi, as we've been saying before, one of the most intelligent IGLs going right now in India, in the South Asian region. A really, really strong player. And you can see why Orange Rock were able to set it up and get that all done. So as the rotations start to sort of come in, the looting phase will start to be over for the teams over down all the way in the south. 8-bit maybe clashing a little bit over near Winery.
Yeah, it's very interesting so far. I mean, this circle is just not nice to absolutely anyone. No. You've got to make a really, really long northern rotation up here. Like I was saying before, though, you can quite easily make this rotation, especially through Dino Park, up through Villa. There's a lot of nice terrain that you can walk past, get some nice cover. Obviously, Mount Kresik as well is a good place to rotate past because it does limit view on the other side. Elementrix have just not had a good start to this game whatsoever. They're really desperately trying to make their way up past Castle, but it looks like they are going to have to split up now and meet back up again later.
Yeah, just a little bit. They've left one at the back to try and give themselves a little bit more cover moving forwards. Obviously, taking a little bit of punishment early on, losing Mr. Kyozu. But they will still be 3 strong. So they left one behind in the form of Orange to try and see what he can do. Against Synergy E, of course, the team came second in the last game.
Yeah.
So they do want to try and to convert this. It's all about consistency. That's what they were talking about on the desk. What we talk about time and time again over in the group stages. Oh dear. Speaking of consistency, it seems like Seoul are being pretty consistent with themselves from last game.
Yeah. A little bit unfortunate. That was Clutch God went down first. Now he's going down again. Came from Revenge, and they were hoping that he'd add that extra oomph that I talked about earlier to the team. And really, so far, I'm not gonna lie, he's been dragging them down a little bit. So
a bit oomphless.
Oomphless, yeah, indeed. So they're going to be maybe.
Or is it umphant?
Umphant, I think. So slightly unfortunate. Maybe he is just still getting back into the swing of things. Like I was saying before, Mortal said they were still working on communication. Maybe that is still a problem for them. Orange from Elementrix can see exactly when Synergy E are going to leave. So it's good for them in that way. So that he's constantly providing info to the team who have gone north. Right now, Orange Rock, they're playing it cool. They're playing it cool on the edge right now. They don't want to move too much. They're just going to scout around, make sure the area around them is clear, and then maybe rotate up towards the northern side. But there is a huge wall of players underneath. Now, let's think about this, John, very quickly, because we've got to decide, where do teams have to rotate in through here? If you're coming up past Cosmodrome, you've got to go past Entity, you've got to go through RIP, you've also got to go through the huge amount of buildings and high places that players can just sneakily play upon. If you come through the middle, you've got to deal with Mount Kresik, which is an awful place to rotate past if you don't have vehicles to move straight up towards the Bava. And underneath this, again, it's just a wall of players. If you're on the south side, you are feeling very, very unlucky.
Choosing your compound carefully as well going to be very important moving in.
Yes.
The next circles could go towards the coast. They could go a little bit more inland. So you do want to be on that sort of central axis on the line from Port down towards Mount Kresnik. That's a sort of good place to be in. If you're in the cone between, basically, you want to be in the triangle formed by Port, Goroka, and Mount Kresnik at this stage. That's sort of my prime location looking at this circle.
Yeah, I think Mount Kresnik will provide you. What it won't provide you is easy terrain to go past. What it will provide you is basically a big wall for you in front of all the players that you can kind of sidestep past and shimmy through into the circle. Orb currently have just gone all the way up to Port. They're playing it very, very safe. And you can't blame them at this point.
No. Not at all. It's a really safe location. They know that they can't get pushed from the back. No one really rotates in boats on Vikendi at all. I mean, even on other maps, it's very, very unlikely. Probably Sanhok is the most common boat rotation that you see. The crossing on Erangel as well to Military Island or from Military Island. Probably the other one where you see it. But Nagar spot themselves a 0 degree.
Oh,
but
wow.
They take a knock. Snax falls. And an uncharacteristic knock early on into the fight.
What has happened with 0 Degree? This team looks like it's on steroids right now.
Oh no, Encore drops out and they are going to fall on down. Nicely picked up. No down so far for 0 Degree. This is really going to put the pace up. The Jaxi and Mega X are really going to suffer. Swag trying to hold it down. Not doing the best. This is not the team that we saw come second.
It really is not. Or this could be not the team we saw come further down towards the group stages from 0 Degree. They're playing phenomenally. That instant refrag onto Snacks there was disgusting from God. And again, the Molotov clears him out.
It's going to be able to get him down again. And the Sharks, they are a-swirling. 0 Degree about to put him on ice. Doing just that, Snacks goes down, and Mega X suffer heavy casualties.
And this is just the power of SMGs on Vikendi. So much close quarter combat. With those super fast-firing weapons, you can demolish someone almost immediately. But let's think about this for a second. Illustrado, Day, on Death said you cannot have more than 2 poor games. You cannot have those games without many kills. What have we just seen from Mega X? 2 poor games. They have to have an amazing run in their next 6 to make it happen, to get into that top 16. Things are looking very dire for them right now.
Oh, a lot of scuffling going on over towards Port, actually, as well. There's a couple of teams losing some players moving forwards. They're not going to be able to find a little bit of safety just yet. Orb, actually, you can see a couple of red health bars there. They are going to suffer a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny little bit.
So a bit of punishment coming their way. But Orb, yeah, another team that has interestingly just leveled up in a big way. Nice to see. Now, one thing I want to talk about is Orange Rock. They have just chilled out for a long time, and quite aptly they're here on Vikendi where there is a lot of snow going on, so they're definitely going to be feeling a little bit frozen. But now they're starting to fall, they're starting to move right now. And they've allowed all these teams to, like you say, cluster up, have a bit of a kerfuffle, take each other out. And now they've found themselves an easy way into the circle just underneath Coal Mine.
Nicely done. It's on the edge, and the circle more than likely going to shift a little bit more inland onto the next ones, which means that playing this soft edge isn't actually too punishing. If it does end up that the circle does just yoink all the way out to Port, it's going to be pretty tricky for them to try and fight through that settlement.
It's a really interesting play as well because, like I was saying before, Mount Kresnik, that's a wall, right? They were I think they were hanging around for the blue to push in, scouting south side, and now they know exactly where teams will be coming from on the west side of Mount Kresnik. That's ridiculously smart. Now they just need to clear out the northern side, which they're going to do now. It's very difficult to really tell you what's going on with the rest of the teams because they are so close together, as you can see on your screen right now. Godlike, 0 Degree. You got Synergy E, Orb, Insane up there. As alongside Megastars. It's crazy. It's crazy up there.
Rip Official looking to try and take down some of the players of Orange Rock. They spot the rotation coming out, and they'll see what more they can get done. But it looks like nothing quite happening just yet.
Orange Rock have stopped, though, pulling up the vehicles. Not happy about the first time when Marvi did go down. Looking to get a little bit of revenge on that side, but instead, they will just chill out, go over to the coastal side, maybe fish a little bit, have a good time.
Get a couple of, good protein on board, some nice white fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a little bit of cod, fry it up, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of butter in there. Fantastic. Not quite as good as a chicken dinner, though.
No, not quite as good as chicken dinner, which they will be definitely going for. The fish is just to put them on for the time being. Elementrix here on the bottom, they have made their way past Mount Kresnik. That is that obvious rotation. Teams will be expecting it. So you're most likely going to see Synergy, Retribution look to gatekeep this team, but Soul playing very safe on the south side of Garoka. They do have to go past the frozen lake, though, which is a little bit difficult, but there's no real team ahead of them other than Mega X. But remember, Mega X took massive casualties, and Paradox is the only one left. He was, though, the second highest fragger for the entirety of the group stages. So he should be doing okay for himself.
He's going to have to certainly channel that energy from the group stages in order to do anything moving forwards. Of course, in Vikendi, Snakes can actually be relatively successful. It's a little bit more difficult for them because of the compound style of play that you see dominate Vikendi just in general. So, You know, it's going to be tricky, but it is certainly doable. If you can find yourself, especially in an urban environment, by the way, you can sort of slip through the cracks, hide in a room, just be that little ball of point gathering for your team.
We got Rip Official looking to take shots down onto Synergy Retribution. Godkill is going to just chill out behind the barricade there, try and receive a little bit of information. But Sky, he's on the backside right now. He's providing a lot of cover. Naruto, this boy has got a Car 98K on board, so he's providing that backstop power. Synergy, they are completely cut up. The pincer move comes through, John.
Gonna be able to get it done. Rip Official raining on down. They left Zabava. And their prize, well, Synergy Retribution. Tempest comes in for the crash. They're going for the full-on assault now, and it looks like it's going to go their way, trying to trade it back, but Legend able to just slip through the cracks there. Curio holding solo right now. Naruto and Sky might come crashing down.
You can see Orange Rock there hovering in the distance as well. I think they've heard this one. But currently we're looking right on the screen. That's a nice shot coming from Synergy Retribution, but they will be completely finished off now.
Huge stuff coming out from Rip Official, able to get that first set of kills, 3 kills.
This is it, yeah. Orange Rock have come in to try and clear up Rip Official here, but it is 8-Bit as well who are looking to take some shots.
This compound, pretty risky at the moment. To get into it for Orange Rock would mean crashing not only into the team, but into 8-Bit as well. 8-Bit probably in a better position to do it, but they don't need to. They've got to wait for this next circle to come in. They've got to wait for that position to make itself a little bit clearer so they can know where they want to rotate. If that comes down to it, they can just push in at a moment's notice.
Yeah, because it's been 15 minutes to get this next circle underway right now. We're just coming up towards phase 3. And the other circle just shifted again towards the northeast. It has not been kind to any of these players. There's about 50% water in this. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say it. You can see it on the screen. It's ridiculous.
It's quite an aqua circle right now. See where the next one does take us. It might hopefully go a little bit more inland. It does give us a little bit more percentage land, but not really that much.
No, we're looking more 60-40 right now. ETG, you could say they're quite central, because remember, this next circle is going to shift away from the water, and it'll probably come down towards the south, and the ETG Brawlers will be towards the middle.
I'll tell you who else I'm looking at. Entity, a team that we did want to see something come in from the last game. Didn't really pan out that way for them. But this time around, as you say, they're central in pretty much anything that happens. They're going to be okay. It's a similar story coming on for that. Soul still playing down on that that southern side, just super chilled, super passive, trying to survive as long as they can there. Orange Rock, they've been playing on that eastern flank as well.
Elementrix, all players have now regrouped together. But like you're saying, John, now these teams are going to start to coalesce, crunch together. But Soul is that outlier who is currently still playing Edge. And I think really right now, what they're hoping for is a southern shift. It's not actually that wild to even try and predict this, because we know the circle is going to come either off to the east, east-south, or west-south, or just completely south. Whatever happens, Soul will have a decent shout at getting into that one. All they'll have to deal with, really, is 0 degree if they take some shots onto him, and they'll have to remove Elementrix on the eastern side. So what they're hoping for is either the southern shift or the southwest shift. Either one of those is fine. So they're 2 to 3 right now in terms of good circle shifts for them.
Got the points up on your screen. 0 degree currently topping us out with 4 points, getting 4 kills on board. Nicely done. Nicely done indeed. Of course, Synergy Retribution getting that 1 point for placing in 16th place. Everyone gets a point just for turning up. A little bit of a consolation prize. Not the best. Certainly not. But you want to be hitting about, as we were saying before, about a 9-point average to solidify yourself moving forwards to the finals, to the regional finals. And if you want to be hitting towards those top ends, you want to be hitting around 11 to 13. Nice shots from Sandu. Headshot from the G36.
That is why this man is at the top of his game. Bloodthirsty support, maybe, but this guy puts in the work.
Oh, 8-Bit taking a little bit of their pound of flesh, though, over towards Existence, getting the knock. A long-range snipe. Should be resable, though. That's the thing in Vikendi, is you're going to see a lot of knocks. Not a lot of conversions, especially in these early circles, but if you've got to stand out in the open like that, in front of Neo, you're not going to have the greatest of times.
I wonder if they do get Existence up right now, because he's outside the compound. He did take another Car 98K shot to the chest, so they had to be quick on the draw and didn't give much time for Existence to get into cover. I think they have now brought him back up again, so great for Orange Rock. Next circle coming in. We'll see if it does what I said. It might not. You never know.
Fantastic. Love a bit of fun. Love a bit of unpredictability. That loot drop really not going to do anyone any favors out in the water.
Unless you've got a really long hook on your fishing rod, absolutely not.
The hook doesn't it? It's the line you want.
The line you need. I mean,
you don't want a long hook.
You could have a real long hook, but you have to be a very strong person to fling that thing. It'd be more like
That's
a harpoon.
True. Yeah,
really.
like an anchor.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long hook on the end of a chain, but they're going to be chaining each other a little bit closer this time. Here's the shift, very central. No one has to move right now. No one has to push in. But if you want to be looking forward, being a little bit more future-minded into these circles, you do want a more central position. This is Entity, this is ETG Brawlers, 8-Bit as well, all slap-bang in a great position.
That's painful for 8-Bit, because what 8-Bit did there is they positioned all their vehicles away from Orange Rock's line of sights, right? But they didn't do it for Entity. So Entity completely removed their backup plans of rotating away from here. Now they're bang slap in the middle of two teams. That crossfire is going to come in massive. 8-Bit have kind of maybe pulled the trigger too early on this one without scouting around enough.
Maybe just a little bit. See these fringe teams, Orb, Megastars, Team Insane as well have to push on down, and Trusted Process and Soul have to push on east just a little bit.
They do. The thing what I'm looking at here is the Soul are actually looking to remove Trusty Process before they move off to the eastern side, which would be a strong move. You really don't want a team in the back lines, right? Because they can make things very, very difficult. Looks like Soul have grabbed that loot crate as well for themselves. So one of the players is going to be nice and geared up. They're going to be nice and tanked. Orb really hasn't had to move it. And this is exactly what we see on Vikendi a lot of times. It's slow, it's tactical, and you have to be careful with it. Elementrix, I think, have done an excellent job to make sure that bad start has turned into an okay end.
Soul have managed to get themselves a loot crate there. You can see with Galtos with
AUG.
The AUG.
Not
There's
bad.
the AUG out in the water. Really just teasing us. Just teasing us with the goodies on offer. Unfortunately, no one's going to be able to get that. Trusted Process have a really tricky rotation to make. This is what you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
The cliff face being held by Soul is a very strong position. They do have Shagar out on the northern flank, though, so maybe they're going to get a spot over onto Soul and maybe take those challenges and get something done with it, but it's going to be pretty tricky nonetheless.
It does depend if he can hit that flank. I mean, Regaltos is running around like a headless chicken right now, and if Shagar even pokes his head out, he'll be able to get a decent spray onto him. But behind them, they've got ETG Brawlers to contend with. They've got Godlike, two teams that you definitely cannot count out, especially ETG Brawlers coming off that win. They're going to have the adrenaline going for themselves. They're going to have that confidence. Next circle, now about to pop John. Let's see where it goes. Right on top of ETG Brawlers. That's the one they were looking for. Entity also feeling good. Orange Rock, not so much. 8-Bit and Entity, they were feeling a little bit difficult right now because 8-Bit especially, they had no way they were going to leave that compound. They had no vehicles. Now the circles come to them. They can play from this position going forward. It is a little bit on the edge, though.
Don't sleep on 0 Degree. We were talking about how fantastic they were in that fight early on against Synergy Retribution. They just took it. They knew exactly what they wanted, and they're paying dividends. The compound that they took is really doing well for them now. They are right in the center alongside ETG Brawlers, alongside RIP Official as well.
Yeah, old DVDs, as our friend Ben would call them. Well, 0 Degrees, definitely. They've gone from 0 Degrees to 100. This team is pretty mad so far. I'm excited to see if they can continue that one up towards the end, but 8-Bit taking some beautiful shots.
Yeah, they're just spiking out from the compound on Vikendi, and actually those spikes are landing over towards RIP Official. Sorry, 8-Bit. As they do just pull on up. Elementrix over on the eastern side, going to be pretty happy with this spot as well. No one's really at their back. No one's going to be looking to push along their line. They have got that firing line just set out as everyone on the northern side is really going to be under pressure.
Yeah, because they have to move in, and all these teams already have fantastic positions. They're just taking pot shots at each other. So these teams are going to have to move down and walk into the firing line of all these teams who already currently have a compound to their name. Insane, I think, is going to make a smart rotation here and going all the way to the south with the vehicles they still have on hand because they haven't really gotten into anyone else's way, and then just razz it in. But they do have to worry about Elementrix.
Oh, speaking of people you have to worry about, Orange Rock absolutely put the plane on the rotation coming through from the Megastars. They're both outside the circle, but you can see the punishment they've been able to dish out. They take out the wheels as well on that UAZ and leave two of them isolated completely. Not the greatest start, not the greatest kickoff for things, but the smokes do bloom. Nonetheless, the blue zone will push them in. Zone 5, it's going to do a little bit more than tickle you, I'm afraid. So they do have to be a little bit nippy on getting those players up. You can see Final Boss as well, just a little bit closer to the foot of the hill. Trying to bide his time and get on in a little bit later as the zone does shut.
Yeah, Orange Rock are making this rotation south. This is the same rotation that Team Insane made. So I wonder what happens there. Oh my god, ETG, Illustrado, you better talk about this on the desk. These boys have been very, very lucky so far.
Look at that. We're talking about circle luck, and yeah, I think Dave's going to have to take the L on this one as well. Because this is definitely circle luck for these guys. Orange Rock, though, coming under pressure. A little bit of argy-bargy with 8-bit over to their western side.
Yeah,
Entity Gaming have to make the break, and they're going to be challenging out the dribs, the drabs, the scraps from the teams from the north. Mega X get eliminated.
This is what I was talking about, John.
Sorry, the Megastars.
Insane made that rotation very quickly. Synergy E also now are out. Insane made that rotation very quickly. I think that was the smart choice, and 8-bit and Entity were able to deal with Megastars on the top side. Orange Rock also take damage over there.
They're trying to crash into a couple of compounds. Rip Official and ETG Brawlers now challenging it out. They sent Sanu way out in front, and really not going to get too much back for it. It's unfortunate. Rip Official challenging it out now.
Soul versus Godlike. We'll get back to that fight between Rip Official and ETG Brawlers shortly, but here it is on screen. I believe that was a Molotov that goes through. Nova taking a little bit of ticks right now. Naruto wants to clean him up.
He's going to send another one in. It was a very nicely placed Molotov. Did quite a bit of damage as well. Orange Rock down to one player on the northeastern side. 8-bit going to be looking out for that. But ETG Brawlers, they've had the circle luck. They've had the push. They just need to try and convert it. Entity have made their way into the circle. You can see them on the top of your screens. They're going to be on the hillsides to the north, challenging out against Orb. As everyone's trying to hold down these locations now.
Nice smoke there. That's going to make it very difficult for ETG Brawlers Nova to come help at any point. And these two players on the top side, they're going to have to worry about 3 players underneath them. If they can refrag effectively on the stairs, they can hold this one out. 0 Degree, though, takes down Poo Poo Man over there with a nice explosion coming through.
Just Orange are remaining for Elementrix. On the south side, very near Paradox, the only remaining player from Mega X. They're not going to be happy with that.
Existence knows he has to move, but he's going to have to wait in the blue for a little bit longer before he mounts up. The team's starting to all just push together. It's the big squeeze on Vikendi.
Oh dear. Entity, though, they're fighting it out. They have taken 1 knock, but they're trying to challenge out against 8-bit. Jonathan, over on the eastern side, pretty much solo in this pursuit at the moment, but they do have to push into the circle, so they can't go for a full send out counterclockwise, unfortunately, not just yet. As Existence does fall, that's Orange Rock out again, very, very early on.
Yeah, 13th place. I don't think they got any kills there either, because Entity just removed those Megastars players alongside with 8-bit. That's Paradox going down too. Mega X does make it to 12th place, but no extra points awarded for a valiant effort from Paradox there on his lonesome. Orange, though, and a few other players from Elementrix, I believe, are still making their way in. No, it is just Orange now from Elementrix. He's on the southern side. He's got to cross the road as well, which is very difficult. We are keeping our eyes on that fight between Rip Official and ETG Brawlers, which will define what happens next in the circle. But if it's not over quickly, you could expect a team like Entity or 8-bit or 0 Degree to come take advantage.
Soul still alive out on the western side. We said they were playing passive. They've done it fantastically well. Orb on the northern edge getting eliminated there too. So the team's starting to crunch down. We are going to rack up the points from here on out. 10 teams remain. Placements come into the fray.
Entity now, exactly what I was talking about before, John. They're going to make the smoke train, try and move their way into this compound. Do they know that there are 2 teams there? Also, on the backside, it's 8-Bit, ready for the Sinister Strike to be just unleashed upon to Entity. Already it's coming through,
no.
Ash and Akshu.
2 players down on Entity as ETG Brawlers push in as well. They're going for the fight, they're going for the sprays. Rip Official trying to find anything that they can at the moment. It's chaos in the kitchen as 3 players down from Rip Official. Just Tempest remains and the ETG Brawlers getting the better end of it. Neo has pushed in the meantime as well from Entity. They are going to survive for now. Only 1 player left for Entity. It is just Neo.
They have moved out though right now. They're trying to make the cross through the smoke over to Tempest. Tempest definitely not going to be able to get one of the players there. Legend will go down. 8-Bit moving through. Let's check how many players are still left on Entity right now. Just Neo. Just barely managed to sprint it down to this tiny compound you can see on the bottom right of your screen.
Mega X eliminated as well. 8-Bit taking some punishment. Neo being in this compound is actually really strong for him. If he doesn't get spotted, if he doesn't get challenged, he can stay alive for quite a long time. Soul getting crunched out on the western side. Viper now out in the blue, looking like he's just going to go for a heal, see what more he can get done. The ETG Brawlers now challenging against 8-Bit for the same fight they fought time and time again.
0 Degree controlling this south side beautifully. Soul, it doesn't look like they're making their way into the circle. They're going to go down to the zone. Again, the circle shifts onto ETG Brawler's side, but it is just outside the compound. These teams will have to fight in the middle.
3 teams are going to push on through. ETG Brawlers and Rip Official have been banging it out for that compound for so long. 0 Degree actually spotted out by a shot from Anto, but they're not going to get too much more. They have to be worried about that fight in the circle. A nice Overwatch position from Anto, but he's so exposed. He managed it. That was a really lucky first aid.
It was clutch. He was ready to go after that as well. Trusty Process now taking shots onto them. 0 Degree have 2 players currently down on the floor. They were the team only with 4 players remaining. And with 13 points so far, this team has been phenomenal.
Incredible displays coming on through. They have got the open south side. They are not in this compound fight, as the compound will have to be evacuated now. Neo is in the blue still. He will have to push on out if he wants to stay alive a little bit longer, but might just try and out-heal this. 2 teams from this compound are more than likely going to fall in this next flurry of action. 0 Degree taking some nades from the side as Trusty Process try and dismount them from their stronghold, but it's going to be a pretty tricky task to accomplish. The pushes still need to come through. The spray goes in. Sangwon cannot stand up.
One!
Beautiful switch up. They are going to go sideways. Neo gets eliminated. Entity down in 6th.
Not bad though for Entity. It's not what they were looking for, but it's definitely decent. Trusty Process with 2 players. Remove all 4. 0 Degree. Fantastic work.
ETG Brawlers still alive. The 3 players are up and alive. They're going for the res. Dark trying to hold it down. Will get it done as well. Does them dirty. That is godlike going down, but they still have Rep Official to worry about. Naruto, last player standing for them, will try and get everyone up. The Brawlers can now think about evacuating. Trusty Process are on the opposite side of the zone. They have got Overwatch on this entire situation. Naruto getting ticked down by the blue. Will try and heal it out. Will try and run around. Goes in, goes for the spray. 1 is going to get found, but he isn't going to get any more than that. And now it's just down to 2. ETG Brawlers take on Trusty Process.
Next circle will define everything. Where does it go? It's about to pop right now. If it goes down to Trusty Process, they'll have a fantastic time. They're in the tree line. If it pushes away from ETG Brawlers, not good news whatsoever. So both teams,
it's just a straight close.
They have to force towards one another right now.
Obviously,
this is a
Zone 9 just
massive
pushes you
brawl.
Right into the middle. It is a massive brawl indeed. 9 kills already for the Brawlers. 5 points for Trusted Process on kills on that western side. Had a really poor start to the day in the first game, but they are not going to let up. Turning it around now. Already a great game for them.
They have the hillside. It's a little slope for ETG, but they do have to move through pretty much open ground. Dark, though, he mounts up. He does not care.
Oh, he goes for the rundown! Gets it done, Dark! Gonna go over, and the Road Warriors are out. The Brawlers exit in fashion, and it is the second chicken dinner. These guys, they're on a roll. Dave, fantastic prediction at the start of that one.
Massive cojones on Dark to just mount up in the vehicle, slam on the accelerator. He's so happy with himself. What a madman.
He's laughing. He knows what he's done. He knows how strong it was. Beautifully orchestrated exit from the compound. Trusty Process did not know what's hit him.
No, they didn't, but they did an excellent job on the other hand to make it as far as they did. Taking down 0 Degree was one hell of a feat, but 0 Degree with 13 points on board, I believe, to end that game out with. It's huge kills. I think they came in 4th as well, so they didn't do too bad at all.
Yeah, they really did a lot of work. I think they ended on 20 points total, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check on that, but really strong nonetheless. Beautiful gameplay coming out from the ETG Brawlers. Circle luck, a little bit, has to be said. The only time they had to leave that compound that they had,
I wouldn't even say it's a
was
little
right
bit,
at the
John.
end.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a little bit. I think that they were basically bribing that circle hard.
But what they've done is prove that given circles, they can win. Now what they need to do is prove that without circles, they can push it. That's really the gauntlet that is set out for them now.
Yeah, they were very calm though in that compound fight, which leads me to believe there's a lot of skill on the side of this team. So quite interested to see what they do going forward. Orange Rock obviously did not have the game that they were expecting. So continued to move away from them. I think the initial rotation was good. Similarly, 8-Bit, they tried to bring up the rear behind Entity Gaming, and sure, they took down a lot of Entity, but they were immediately found out and removed from the board. And I think it was just that, you know what, they're called the Brawl Stars, so absolutely they are going to be the stars of the Brawl when you're in that little compound at the end, right? When there's like about 8 other teams surrounding you.
It's going to be pretty important to be able to win those out, but consistency in those is really difficult to achieve. That's the problem, but they are doing it. They're making it happen. Orange Rock now played two of their dud game cards. Probably the maximum you can look at having a bad game. For a team like Orange Rock, we know they can frag out. We know they have the chops to do it. Probably the maximum you can go down this early is in 3 games.
And another team to consider as well is Seoul. Like this was a poor performance 2 games in a row. Like for some of other teams where they went out early, you can say that they had not so bad of a performance because they had some kills on board. Seoul, both times, just could not pull the trigger on those fights. Even with Trusty Process on the western side, they waited it out for far too long. They had the high ground.
Yeah, it was not the greatest performance, unfortunately. They didn't quite take that. They prioritized position, which on Vikendi, it's kind of understandable. And Trusty Process were able to bring up the rear, which is what you were talking about, clearing them out. But I think that it's kind of a coin flip as to which one you go for. And at the end of it, it was the ETG Brawlers to win out the coin tosses time and time again. The Brawl went their way, but we're going to head over to the desk to break it down even more. Jason, what do you got?
And something that really stands out to me is the fact, something you said, Illustrato, in the first game, the ETG Brawlers getting very lucky, is what you said, at the top of the hill. Yet again, they get a little bit lucky with the circles, but we have to talk about how damn well they played that one.
Okay, I will admit, they did get lucky again, but they did also play that phenomenally well. I mean, you have to give it to them. The way that they held that compound up to the very end, taking fight after fight, clearing team after team, it was very patient, and it was a very intelligent kind of playstyle that we saw from them. It wasn't just getting lucky shots, looking down upon a slope, and easily picking off people. It was a tactical and slow dissection of everybody that came and tried to attack them.
I want you to talk about this much, Dave.
I don't think it's luck. I'm just going to say it. I think it's well planned out. They know these circles. They can read them ahead of time. They're not planning for what are we going to do in circle 1, what are we going to do in circle 2. They're planning on what are we going to do in circle 5, 6. I think they're planning this out. I think they have some strategies that we're starting to learn here, some tactics. Now, if they continue getting what you call the circle luck, in the next days. I mean, when's it not going to be luck no more and all skill?
Fair enough. But
Okay,
you
couple more games though.
Couple more games, but you can't really predict what the next circle is going to be, basically. But they've been getting it time and time again, which is really, really rather impressive.
I mean, we had, what, the first circle, 60% water. You can kind of predict, like, okay, it's not going to go on the coast. And we saw Orb, they took up the coast very early on. Yes, they were favored for like 2 circles, but then they had to push all the way down south because it did go towards the inland. So you can kind of read the circles just a little bit.
You are absolutely correct. I do agree with you definitely there. But you know who's been getting the circles wrong completely? OR. They've been seemingly going off to... They went to the top right, the northeast side of the map. They weren't able to get anything done. And Seoul, even themselves, they lost somebody early. So it's been a very difficult day for our favorited teams, quote unquote. This time, it doesn't look like they're going to be continuing that.
I think maybe game number 1 kind of got to them.
Yeah, I do think so.
They were playing passive. They weren't playing like how we saw them in the group stages, coming out, fragging out. They're playing the edge, you know, but that's just not their play style.
Yeah, you know who's playing like Seoul? These guys, 0 Degree.
Woo!
These guys.
Somebody pointed down here like these guys, and we're like, well, who? I don't think
they're here. These guys, second place.
There you go.
That's who you're talking about.
I thought that they would be first after that last game because they ended up with 20 points. But
so no, this is just from the last match. This is not overall.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So 0 Degree getting 20 points. EDG Brawlers still taking the chicken dinner yet again. They come up with 30 points.
63 now, I believe they're going to be up.
Yeah. So Brawlers, I mean, whew, what a game from them. Trust the process though. They were taken down in 16th place last game. Coming in hot this game, 19 total points, 5 kills. So I would like to have seen a little more aggression from them, just to kind of make up that poor placements that they did get in game number 1. But all in all, I mean, 3rd place is definitely something to be
There's a
proud
team
of.
I want to mention as well, Entity Gaming. We talk about teams that are getting these circles. Entity 100% have the circles the majority of the time, exactly like ETG did, and yet they came out in 6th place. They weren't able to survive long enough.
I definitely think it has a little bit to do with circumstance in that situation. They did get the circles a number of times, but time and time again, there's like 4 people pushing into their position, 4 different squads. So at that point, you say, okay, some of it is being unlucky, but at the same time, there are teams like, say, ETG Brawlers who are able to handle those situations very, very well.
Yeah, 0 Degree though. I mean, what a game. They were playing edge the whole time. They kind of 3rd-partying, 4th-partying everybody. They were just laughing the whole time. They just said, okay, let the squads send it in the middle. Let them go center. Let them fight it on their compounds. If they peek, we're going to take their heads out. Here's teams 9 through 16th. Let's see. Who do we have? Mega X Paradox, the solo member for quite a while.
Yeah.
Not able to get any more points.
I think Orange Rock has like 9 points now total. That's not a good start. It's not good enough.
A tear just came out my eye, if you didn't see.
Well, I want to do is say one thing, at least for Orange Rock, is that Sandy was the only one to get a kill in that game, and then they lost pretty much everyone else. And at some point, he's like, all right, I kind of have to do something myself. He rushed into the circle when the rest of his team was kind of left behind, and it didn't work out for them. For the team that came through first in groups, the team that I think all of us agreed to be one of the top contenders, they are having a rough time. But then again, it's only top 16 you have to get through. If they get one chicken dinner, they can still be in there.
It's going to be
not a good start.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially with these other teams that no one expected to pop off. So you have to go back and think, these teams that no one expected to pop off, did these teams at the top do any VOD review? Did they study them? Did they have any information on these other squads coming into the games? Because we didn't expect it.
See, that's the thing. When you're like the top squad, if you want to stay on top, and I always say this, you have to be twice as good as whoever's right next to you. We're not seeing that today, definitely. And I do feel like if you are one of the top squads, people are going to be reading into you more. People are going to study you more. It's not going to be the same the other way around. Yeah. And I do agree. I think that's what we're seeing here.
That might be what's going on, actually. All these teams, they just know so well what Orange Rock does based off of the group stage performance, based off the India tour performance. Yeah. They're reading them like an open book right now. Unfortunate for them. Hopefully when they come back, they'll try something else.
Well,
I mean,
we talked about the circles as well, right? The first one, 60% in the water, and maybe that's something that really affected them. Let's actually take a look at kind of like a recap of how all the circles actually concluded towards the end, because that was a major factor for a lot of teams out there.
Yeah, while I really agree with you, having the circle start at like 60% in the water, that should favor teams like Orange Rock, because they like to play aggressive. They like to get kills in rotation. That, however, is not what happened. They were taken out so early on as well. So this is leaving a lot of questions, like what's going on in Orange Rock's mind? Why aren't they getting the kills that they should be getting?
See, this is like Circle 5 and 6. ETG and both Entity were smack in the middle. Yes, ETG Brawlers, they got favored right there. But look at all these teams. I mean, we had RIP, they were fighting them for some time. We had 8-Bit try to make the push onto them. I mean, like you mentioned, all these squads are trying to take over that compound. Yes, they were getting favored by the Circles, but they were defending that compound so well. And it's not like they weren't getting knocked. They were getting knocked in the process, but they were getting the revives, able to reset and heal up and prepare for the next battle.
And it did feel like 0 Degree to some extent were helping them, because 0 Degree was at some point clearing out the enemies that were around the area of
There's a couple
ETG.
as well.
Yeah, there were a couple of them, and I feel like it made their lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, so one play that I believe was the turning point for the Brawlers right there, kind of back to that compound fight. They had 2 members in the second floor of one of the barns, and then they had a solo, kind of trying to hold the flanks. And then RIP had 3 members in the same barn with one solo in the back holding the flank. The Brawlers, they got a knock on the sky, immediately made the push into the barn. They took the barn, they took the position, and from there, they were able to hold it throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and that's
very important play.
I do agree. I think that's one of the reasons we look at this team and say, these guys play really mature. They have a lot of well-developed game strategies that I think that we are starting to see today. It's not just running around and taking down people. They're very tactical.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's actually take a look at the top 5 players from that last match as well, and you're going to bet ETG have to have quite a few players up there. And again, Dark, who said he's support for his team, is leading the way with his kills and damage.
What is up with these support players that are
I don't know.
quote-unquote support, man?
It's air quote support. Like we said, I mean, Dark's going to go after this game like, guys, I'm the support. I got the most damage on the squad. I got the most kills on the squad. What are you guys doing? You want to
step up? You want to help me out?
Step up? Or do I need to continue to carry you in my backpack here? Because it's getting a little heavy.
I do want to point out on the team of Zed, they have gotten like so much damage and kills between them. I think they had 13 kills on their last game.
Yep, 13.
That was absolutely insane. I'm sure the other players had equally just as many.
I do like to see one member from Trusted Process up here. That makes me very happy. 5 kills. Like I mentioned, you know, horrible game number 1. This game, they were playing extremely passive, playing the edge. But then we saw them for a brief moment. They were in this church, right? They were kind of locked down. There was a hill above them. There was a squad above them. And then there was Soul gatekeeping them. Instead of crashing right into Soul, sending it right into the center of the circle, they rotated around Soul, down south, able to survive and avoid Soul altogether. I believe that was a very crucial play for them.
And they actually got the position before Soul did. Soul had to push into them after that.
The roles were reversed somehow, even though Soul had the advantage.
And that's also, I think, I want to point out one instance of indecision from Soul. Because normally a team like Soul, who normally plays aggressive, would just straight up take that fight, take that map control, but then they didn't. It might be the nerves that we're seeing here.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of the nerves and the likes, we have to look at now what's coming up, because we have Group B coming off the stage and Group C coming in. And if you look at the groups, guess who's in Group A? ETG Brawlers. So if they want to guarantee their position basically off day 1 alone, just continue this pace, right? Do well in the next 2 games, then you're guaranteed through top 16. I think even at this point, they're almost guaranteed with the 63 points they should have.
So you brought up the flip of the coin earlier in the pre-show about some of these squads that they like having 4 games back-to-back. They like having 2 games, a break, 2 games. Brawlers right now, they have to be loving having the games back-to-back because 2 chicken dinners in a row. Can they get 3? I don't know if they're going to be my pick. They were my pick last game. I'm not going to let you not mention that.
Hey,
I said they were going to win. I said what didn't you call that?
Nothing. I didn't call it anything.
Oh, there's 10 teams in Circle 7. Oh, I was 2 off. I'm sorry.
It was still close.
I think this next map is going to, Miramar, is actually going to favor ETG more. Because if they get the circle, Miramar is the kind of map that has like a couple compounds and then vast tracts of land. And from as we've seen earlier, that's exactly where ETG seems to excel a lot in holding down those map controls, holding down those pockets of, you know, the map and dominating it.
Yeah, the open space, just making sure they don't get breached in the process.
Yeah. And then they just clear out everything around them. So I feel like this might favor them even more.
One more note about the groups, by the way. Some teams that are coming off the stage now who probably don't want to, 0 Degree. They just had a great game on Vikendi. Yeah. They just finally got, you know, like into the match, and now they're going to have to come off the stage and wait for the next 2 games to be played before they come back on.
Actually, they had a great first game in Erangel as well. They were like, if I'm not mistaken, the God Killers in the first game.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's just pull up the overall standings to see how they actually are faring overall so far within today's games alone. because we already know who's going to be #1, and if they're not, I'm going to cry. The ETG Brawlers going to be leading the way. Look at that. 2 games played, and they have 2 chicken dinners. Can they pull off the flawless play today?
Wow, 63 points ahead of everybody pretty much. I mean, first place. I mean, 0 Degree, if they get a chicken dinner, they're definitely going to shoot on up. But like you mentioned, they are going to be heading over to that break right now. Trusty Process, huge game #2 from them, able to secure themselves 5th position after such a horrible game #1.
Yeah, and 0 Degree, look at that. That's not 23 points separating them. That's exactly how many points Synergy has, who came in first and then ended up doing pretty terrible in the second game.
It is interesting that both Brawlers and 0 Degree also have the same
amount
number
of kills.
Yeah.
So we know who's coming out swinging. We know who's coming out fighting. Those 2 teams who, if you look at now the next 8 teams currently in the standings, they're going to be far leaps and bounds beyond ahead of them. And I almost want to say that, oh my, wait, is that right? Am I saying that right?
Wow.
Right? Number 16, Orange Rock in last place.
14 on Seoul as well. This is actually abysmal. I thought that they would have gotten a couple more points in this, but I guess I was wrong.
Guys, remember, 8 games total for all these teams to play over these 2 days for the prelims before we move into finals. We're already 2 games in for Orange Rock and Seoul, and they have 10 points collectively between the 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, we both kind of agreed to in the beginning, like, okay, you can have 2 really bad games.
Yeah.
But after that, I mean, if you're one of these teams, you got, what, 6?
Yeah, 6 left.
You're capped out. They're capped out now.
There's going to be lots of pressure.
And even Entity, a team that after 7 games in the group stage still managed to qualify through since they could not play out the rest of the matches. They're currently in 10th place at 13 points, and they've had favorable circles in both the games so far.
We'll have to get Blank and John's take on that, because I know that was one of their squads that they were cheering for backstage with some pom-poms. So.
Well, I know we're probably going to go back there and see Blank in an ETG jersey just saying, like, what, who?
John with a hat, you know, like just repping the merch all day long.
Maybe some tattoos in there.
We will see, I think, in the next group, we're just changing up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we will see a very different set of players. So I want to see how that new group of players, that dynamic, affects the current Group A players, because it obviously changes depending on who you're on the field with.
Well, you know who we're going to see, right?
Yeah.
The team I've been waiting for, the boys in orange, Fnatic, going to have a chance to come out, and they've already talked to us about the pressure that's on their shoulders that they have to deal with, sign on to an organization like Fnatic. But this is a team that has their eye on the prize. They're a team that wants to lift that trophy, not only for themselves, but for their country over in the finals.
Yeah, and my question is, they were backstage the whole time watching the Brawlers just dominate. Are they going to have a target on the Brawlers' back? Are they going to come into this game fresh, looking to make a statement? I think so.
I'm going to agree. I think they have to. I think they're coming here, you're waving that flag around, that banner around.
Flag, yeah.
You've got to back it up.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. You got to take out the big dog.
Exactly.
Well, if you're a team from Group C, do you go into this now looking at the weak links from the first game and use that to
feed
farm
on
points?
them.
You could be like, hey, free kills for us, right?
That's also another option. Yeah. But if I'm Fnatic, I'm going for Brawlers. I'm just saying.
Oh, so you're sticking with that for this next game?
No, I'm saying that Fnatic should go for Brawlers.
Yeah, that makes
I think
sense.
they will fight, though.
I do still, we talked about this earlier, INS. Team INS is one of those teams that I'm really looking forward to. They have one of the best snipers in the game, and they have a really good solid lineup. They placed 3rd in the PMIT recently, and they're kind of a team that I definitely want to focus on. They play a little bit more passive as opposed to other players sometimes, but they're able to turn up the heat when they need to, much like what we saw from ETG. So that's going to be a dynamic that I'm going to be looking forward to a little bit later.
I'm looking towards Salty Squad, actually. I'm looking for the boys, because this is a team from Nepal who ranked highest in the group, highest in the group stage out of their region. And this is a team with like the country on their shoulders to perform well, and they've already seen ETG Brawlers having a fantastic start. Maybe it's a little bit of a nice thing seeing Orange Rock not perform so well. Maybe the same for Seoul, but the teams coming into Miramar obviously have the time to prepare it, and teams in Group C have 4 games back-to-back. So it's not like they come off the stage at all. They get to play it the entire way through.
It's a little bit of a double-edged sword for me. If I'm one of the other teams that aren't, say, Seoul or like Orange Rock, I'd probably be really excited to say, oh, wow, they're all doing terrible. This is my chance. But at the same time, there's other teams like ETG stepping up and be like, okay, we didn't prepare for that. That might actually be worse.
Well, you know what? We get to actually hear from ETG. We have an interview on the stage with Xerxes with the team ETG with their 2 chicken dinners.
Whew. ETG Brawlers, winner, chicken dinner, and winner, chicken dinner. 2 rounds in a row. You guys were the underdogs. You came in at what, position 18th when you entered, and now you're leading the table at 63 points. Was this planned? Nope. Wasn't planned actually. It was rotations. It was all about rotations actually. In the beginning, we took fast rotations and we hold the compounded and all. Did the circle not favor you both times? Like, weren't you just in the right place as you landed?
Actually, it was zone hacks, yeah. Like last time also it happened in semi-finals. Like in 4 matches, we had 3 chicken dinner and 1 second position. So that time also they were like zone hacks and all. So same thing happened again, I guess.
It's beautiful. And now that you've played 2 games and Group C has been watching you dominate with Group B, you think they're going to all target you? Because earlier no one must have thought, like, ETG Brawler, we're one of the others.
I don't think anyone will target because they have to focus on their own game as well. Because it's their first game for now.
So you're all warmed up and you think it's not wise for those guys to be targeting you because they're going to be in your kill zone because you are the one with the most kills right now. In fact, you're the guy who ran over the last player. He did not see that coming, literally. Did you guys prompt him to do that or did he just go for it?
He went for it. He just went for it himself. He was like, 2 ही बंदे बचे हैं, गाड़ी लेके एक बार घुमाता हूँ कहाँ पे हैं, इसने चढ़ाई दी.
So that's the advantage of having the team just around you. Like, okay, even if I take a hit at this point of time, someone's going to take it, right? Wow, you guys have been killing it with these 2 games. I'm wishing you luck for the next 2 games, which are going to come forward. But before that, PUBG Mobile, when it came to India, has completely taken over by storm. It's been one boon after another. And which is why we've made a very, very special documentary just for PUBG Mobile. So here it goes.
लक्ष्मी कौस्तुभ पारिजातक सुरा धन्वंतरी चंद्रमा गाव काम दुधा सुरेश्वर जो रंभा.
India has a lot of variety. The color, it's about the tradition, the religion. It's just the perspective that gonna matters a lot. They are right in their own sense. Might be wrong to someone, but might be right to someone. I'm just basically a typical boy trying to live up on his dreams, trying to do something on his own.
I can set an example for this. They love me playing for India. I felt really proud that I was representing India.
I'm an esports player. And every esports player has that hunger to win. For us, the main goal is to become the best, nothing else.
I think it's the right time for esports to take off in India. PUBG Mobile has now come into India and taken over. The accessibility for mobile devices is so strong and so easily available to the general public. Once PUBG came out with their mobile version, it took India by surprise.
Started my journey playing PUBG Mobile, and I would always love India to be at the top.
The do's and don'ts of PUBG or something like that, I don't know. I still don't understand what he's doing. But that was fantastic.
This short clip will help you to understand how to aim properly and control recoil.
Twitter, I ain't touring, I am anti-com message board kid did everything that I say I did. Don't believe me.
It's gonna be your main man. It's gonna be Scout, and it has to be. Drop it down off bridge. The components on this player.
I need to get that world level trophy out there. So being a new team, we got picked by one of the biggest organizations out there, that's Team Fnatic. And for us to prove ourselves, to prove our followers, to prove our fans, and to keep that name high.
Yeah, my teammates would say that I'm the mistake maker, I guess, but I'm also the playmaker. I love to walk on the tightrope.
Cold shower, that's true power. Let me catch my breath, let me snatch what's next.
Rock.
And the headshot will finish him off. Soul back.
1 versus 3. 1 versus 4, actually. Oh!
Massive. Excellent play. Oh. Great taking currently no damage on Marvin. Moving forward, he does not make it.
I just wanna read to you, baby, holding up your hand, baby, yeah, baby, yeah, baby, yeah, baby.
When you practice hard, when you give your best and you lose, that's okay. And everyone can see that, especially the coach can see that these guys gave it all and lost. But if they don't give it all and they lose and they come up with some stupid excuse, I can figure it out. That is my job. Yeah, these guys, they got a very big opportunity. There are so many people who are dying for this chance.
Every third person in India plays PUBG, I'm pretty sure about that. From a kid to an adult in an office, they play PUBG for sure.
The first PMCO that happened in India, 11,000 or 12,000 teams applied for that tournament. This is the trophy that every team tries for, getting the hands on the PMCO World Championship. It's really tough to survive that competition.
Being able to be called the champion in this is kind of like the milestone.
This year's PMCO, the points has been changed. So before it was like one team keeps winning, they get a huge lead, which is unbeatable. But now you can't get the huge lead if you don't have the kills. So if a team keeps on killing a lot of people, they're gonna get a huge lead. But if just a team wins with less kills and other teams starts killing more, the win doesn't matter because you need to have the skill to kill. If you don't have the skill, you cannot kill.
Viper tries to move out. Existence will just finish that one.
So from this new rule change, 3 to 4 teams are gonna benefit. One is Orange Rock Esports because they're damn aggressive.
Right now, the best team in India is OR, being one of the highest skill set players and the amount of coordination and synergy they have among themselves.
The other one is Team X. They've got 2 or 3 of the best assaulters out there in their team.
They have one of the best players India has produced, Scout.
Vcash just over the hill here, and Scout is looking for him.
Plus always.
2 players behind the rocks, 1 goes down.
Then they have Ronak.
Comes in the corner. Sees 1, takes down 1, there's just 1 left, sees him in the grass and will finish it.
Apart from that, there's another team which is Team 8-Bit because they go for kills.
14 kills for Team 8-Bit.
Mega.
Here comes the massive push. There's absolutely no way he's getting away with that one.
MX.
Really bringing the swagger at the end of the game.
Entity.
These shots from Entity, that will be the whole team wide.
These are the really big and good teams this year. They're like way too good at the game.
I'm Team Soul all the way. They're my guys. My money's on them. Let's see how they do.
Team Soul, 2 new players added into the team. Definitely they have Mortal, one of the most fan favorite guy.
Guess.
Oh, Model just standing his ground right now.
And he got his back by Viper.
Viper gets the knock and it's going to be Carnage who's having Carnage spread around. It's going to be open.
So we are going to work on being a much more aggressive team. We are still working on that actually.
After that also we were having pressure to win, but like the fan expectations, the family expectations, that like they wanted us to represent India at that level. We reached that level, but now the pressure is to win it. My dad's name is Gajanan Sharda. My dad never knew about PUBG. He had no idea what kind of a game it is, but every tournament I'm playing, every game I'm playing, he's watching me. That makes me really happy that even though I didn't say him anything, I didn't teach him anything about the game, he knows so much about the games. He was born in Uttar Pradesh. Just after 1 year of getting married, he came to Surat to have something on his own. My father is a local packing material manufacturer and he's been doing this work for the past 20 years.
भाई 1 मिनट बैठ जाओ अंदर पहले
पानी ले
एक्चुअली मशीन तो सब इंडिया ही की बनी हुई है और इसको ग्लोटिंग मशीन भी बोलते हैं और इसके अंदर एक बार में कम से कम 100 से 125 किलो मटेरियल वन टाइम में चला जाता है।
अरे बापू को माल नहीं ले गए?
अमेरिका से, यूरोपियन कंट्री से ही ये रॉ मटेरियल आता है और इसको फिर चारों तरफ से कट करना पड़ता है, आधा आधा इंची, पौन इंची, जैसा वेस्टेज निकाल लो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। उसकी साइजें बनाते हैं, उसको बिछाते हैं, माल में सल होता है वो निकालना पड़ता है।
I used to hate to go to that place. I used to hate to go to the place whenever my mom used to say, you are free at home, just go visit your dad, help him in his work. I was like, okay, I'll just go to my friend's house.
वो अपनी दुनिया में बिजी था।
दुनिया इनकी पबजी थी।
खेलता जरूर था लेकिन दिमाग में ये रहता था इससे अपना कुछ मिलना तो है नहीं।
ऐसा कुछ माइंड में था ही नहीं कि हमको इसमें कुछ इतना बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म मिल जाएगा।
इसलिए उसको ऐसा लगता था काम तो करना ही,
काम करना ही करो। बचपन में एक्चुअल में क्या है कि काफ़ी टाइम तक तो ये इतना बीमारी की वजह से ही हम मतलब उसको शुरू के काफ़ी टाइम तक तो बीमारी की वजह से इसके लिए परेशान रहते थे।
मेन क्या है जो इसके प्रॉब्लम थी ना वो डॉक्टर पता नहीं कर पाए
और उसको 2.5 साल तक कंटिन्यू हमने यूपी का कोई डॉक्टर नहीं छोड़ा था। मेरे एक फ्रेंड ने मेरे को जो चाइल्ड स्पेशलिस्ट के अंदर जो एशिया के टॉपर में से भोपाल के लिए हमने, मेरे को याद है कि हम लोग 10 से 15 दिन रहे थे दिल्ली के अंदर और दिल्ली हमारे लिए अलग शहर था तो हमको वहाँ पे बाहर गार्डन के नीचे जो है वो पेपर डाल करके सोना पड़ता था
क्योंकि वहाँ हॉस्पिटल में केवल जो बच्चा बीमार है उसकी मम्मी ही रह सकती।
जिस समय वो दिखाया था तो उसकी हाथ जो है वो इतने इतने से थे और उसके अंदर से जो सिरिंज में ब्लड निकलवाना था तो उसके लिए मैंने और 1.25 घंटे तक वो सिरिंज को यूँ ये हाथ को दबाते रहे तब तक वो सिरिंज में ब्लड नहीं आ पाया। ये पोजीशन थी इतनी क्रिटिकल। तो बचपन की कुछ ऐसी यादें बीमारी के अंदर ही रही बस।
When I was a kid, I used to dream like I want to play soccer for my country, like being in the Indian national team. I have a rule in my life. If you like something, just go achieve it.
उसने क्या किया, स्टेयर पे चढ़ के छत पे जाके वहां से नीचे जंप करके भाग गया था। तो वो किसके लिए गया था, उसको फुटबॉल प्रैक्टिस करना था इवनिंग में और उसको मैं जाने नहीं दे रही थी। तो मैं सोई थी तो मुझे बिना बोले वो छुप के ऊपर से कूद के चला गया था। फिर तो मैं इतनी परेशान हो गई, मैंने उसके फादर को फोन किया है, तन्मय कहाँ चला गया। फिर मैं दरवाजा खोल कर जाके वॉचमैन को पूछा, यहाँ मेरा बेटा गया क्या? तो वो बोला हाँ वो तो गया अभी। फिर मैं बोली कैसे गया, फिर वो इतना टफ है, टेरेस से नीचे कूदना आसान नहीं है। उसके फादर एक्चुअली उसके पापा उसको बहुत प्यार करते हैं तो वो तो उसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, बट कभी कभी बोलते क्या कर रहा, अभी उसको बिजनेस में आना चाहिए।
I have a thing in me, like I don't like anything, spoon fed to me. I like to make my own stuff. So later, no one can tell me like, okay, dude, you did it on because your dad gave it to you. No, I did it on my own.
मेरे फ्रेंड्स में क्या बोले सब कि इंडिया में फुटबॉल का इतना प्रायोरिटी नहीं है, क्या वो फुटबॉल खेल के क्रिकेट खेलता तो ये होता।
Among all the sports, football was my heart though. Basically, football was my life completely at that moment. I played professionally. I went to national level. I was in Kolkata for a professional Division 1 team tryouts. It's just one-time chance, man. You need to prove there.
वो इतना अच्छा खेलता था तो मैं उसकी कोच को पूछती थी, बोलते नहीं उस फुटबॉल में भी वो कैरियर बहुत अच्छा। तो उसका जर्मन तो पहले सपना था फुटबॉल प्लेयर, तो और उसको जाना था बर्लिन, तो मैं बहुत खुश थी। उसके लिए जब नहीं जा पाया तो मुझे बहुत दुखी हुई और कुछ नहीं।
So during the tryouts, I tore my hamstring. The second I knew that my hamstring is gone, the first thought in my head came was that, okay, what's the next time I'm going to start walking or when is the next time I'm going to start playing. The doctor says me, dude, you need to stay in the bed for at least 6 months. And then I was like, okay, my dream's dead here.
Today is a Shraddh day, so जो भी मेरे पूर्वज लोग चले गए हैं अब इस संसार में नहीं है तो उनको जो जो चीज़ें पसंद थी तो मैंने आज वो नहीं है लेकिन फिर भी वो हमारे हाथ का खाएंगे तो उनको अच्छा लगेगा.
My dad had passed away when I was just 4 years old. So a single parent raising up 2 boys in Mumbai is not actually easy. I believe that because sitting here, I know the amount of hardship she had to go through to raise us up.
My husband loves lady's finger. He loves this cauliflower. I mean, आज हम और नमन हम लोग जो भी हैं आज उन लोगों के आशीर्वाद से हैं. आज वो लोग कोई भी नहीं है लेकिन उनकी यादें और उनकी रिमेम्बरेंस हमारे माइंड में है और उनकी ब्लेसिंग्स हम लोग के ऊपर है.
We were short on finances. The major source of income at our home was my mom cooking food for probably bachelors and people, you know, around. That's the only way my mom used to pay the bills, pay my education fee and everything. Yeah, that's how we survived. It actually cannot be expressed in words. That's all I can say. I mean, words cannot describe how I feel about my mom.
All going towards the center. सब लोग ऊपर जा रहे हैं.
My mom was very nervous when I first started this thing. There was a time when I was playing, she used to, you know, shout at me and she used to yell at me and say, go back and study or, you know, go back and sleep. But then now things are different. Now she's like, why are you wasting time sleeping? You should get back on streaming.
With how many kills? I'm mortal more. I'm mortal more.
Life goes on and you need to move on. And no matter how bad the scenario is, you need to go ahead in life too. I didn't have to find my new dream because I already had a passion of gaming. But it was me thinking that this passion can be a career. So I took my passion to a career. Now I am here with PUBG Mobile.
और इंडिया में कैसे है हमारे पेरेंट्स एक्चुअली उनकी थिंकिंग कैसी है बच्चे के रियली कुछ इंजीनियर डॉक्टर ये कुछ बनना चाहिए. बिफोर 10 years एक्चुअली ई स्पोर्ट्स क्या है किसी को पता ही नहीं था रियली. तो उसके फादर बोलते तुम क्या कर रहे हो काम पे ध्यान नहीं तुम्हारा. मेरा बच्चा का ये मैच चल रहा है तो मैं मैच देख रहा हूँ. तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है स्पेशली तन्मय को देखना मुझे बहुत मतलब स्काउट को देखना मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
हमको तो इसी चीज का बस ये है कि बचपन में इतना वो होने के बावजूद भी आज ये इस लेवल पे इसने मुकाम हासिल किया.
When I got the offer to become a pro player from Orange Rock, took some advice from our friends, from our family, and they were like quite supportive in this thing. So they just said, it's about your dream. You always wanted to live this dream. So you're getting the opportunity, don't miss it.
अभी बच्चों को अगर गेमिंग हो आजकल हर इंसान को कुछ ना कुछ तो करना ही पड़ता लाइफ में. वो अगर इस माध्यम से आगे निकल गया तो हम लोगों को बहुत गर्व की बात. हम तो देखा को शाम को इनको चिकन का डिनर देंगे. हमको रियली नहीं मालूम चिकन डिनर होता है क्या.
Hello, welcome to the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2019 Fall Split.
The process to qualify for a finals is so grueling. When we formed Orange Rock, the guys never played together, so we set up a boot camp in Hyderabad for them to learn to be a team.
We formed Orange Rock to win all the big events. The players on this team should be aiming for the best in the world.
The
great as well.
They know exactly where Retribution are.
Almost there. Cover देना मेरे को, cover देना. मैं knock नहीं होना चाहिए गाड़ी से उतर दूँगा.
Luckily, Orange Rock still have a really good position on this hop side. What an extra Molotov. Makes all the racks scurry around. MJ goes down.
22 kills going over to Orange Rock. A huge pickup for them.
I did not know I would come back, but then there were, many factors. For example, there were so many teams in India now who have become very good at it. So it's going to be good challenging them now.
Mortal looking to try and shimmy his way in as well as the circle down on its soul versus Orange Rock. They know exactly where he is. He knows exactly where they are, though. He goes out wide.
Nice shot! The back is against three. Here comes the push right now. He does go down.
There's
just
one player
standing
for
in
Orange
the
Rock.
rock. And the headshot will finish him off.
We are adjusting and learning on to taking more kills and being more aggressive so that, by the time we get that chicken dinner, I'm pretty sure we're going to get around 10 to 15 kills.
Everybody said it's what they want. Got my feelings all in a knot. Don't you worry, dust the table off. Put the record on. You can come along with me.
Being a competitive player, if you're not confident, you can't survive the scene. We are not scared of anyone. If you're gonna be scared of anyone, you have to be scared of everyone.
Having a big name behind us, that's Team Fnatic. We are not nervous about anything. We are really happy that we have a really good competition out there.
It's a nice sports car, though. Love it.
This is a beautiful car. The question is, can the play be beautiful as well?
So my team right now, we are 5 members, and I know these guys have the talent. They have the caliber to win the tournament. They have the skills.
Ronak's so low.
Too strong.
Even so, Scout's having none of it. He wants to get the full team win.
Coming to a close, Team X-Spark now, the arbiters of death.
If we get to hold the trophy at an international level, that would actually feel amazing.
I'm enjoying the moment, and I don't want to wake up from this dream.
So it's been a very big roller coaster for me, and it's still going on. I'm a professional PUBG Mobile esports player.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PMCO Fall Split South Asia Prelims. We're getting into the nitty and gritty of the day. We're about the halfway mark as we're approaching game number 3 as we're moving over to Miramar. But guys, we have to start to talk about this map. Obviously, we have Group C with different teams coming in. But Miramar is going to be a little bit different than what we've seen so far today.
I mean, people are familiar with Miramar for sure. It's not exactly the most favorite map of everybody, and it will favor some teams more than others. I just wanted to talk about ETG. This seems like the kind of map that they would really, really thrive under. I mean, holding those compounds with a lot of those wide open spaces around them. That just seems like something totally up their alley.
Especially with the momentum that they will have coming into this game. But I'm going to say, I think it's someone else's turn for the chicken dinner.
Oh, really?
I mean, we got to be fair. We got to be fair. We got to be fair. We got to give the other squads a fighting chance. So we got groups A and C coming up next on Miramar. Then after that, A and C once again for Sanhok, and then Miramar, B and C, and then Vikendi to wrap things up today, B and C.
So you made a really bold claim right there that it's somebody else's turn. Who do you think is going to be this time?
Whoa, now you're asking for a lot. I'm just going to say Fnatic.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, you didn't even think about it. You didn't give us the reasons. You're just that confident in the Fnatic.
I'm trying to get an autograph and a jersey. I'm not going to lie.
So not biased at all is what you're saying?
No,
not at all.
I don't have the jersey yet, so technically not biased.
Well, we'll see if that changes a little bit later on. See if we can hit up Karn for that one. But you can see the teams that we're playing now. We're going to see Team C for the first time. Fnatic, Salty Squad, INS, Blind in there, Reckoning, Mayhem. There's so many teams that honestly still could take the title and challenge the best of what we've seen so far. And on that note of the best we've seen so far, there's so many stats to back up how well ETG has been playing so far, as well as 0 Degree.
Yeah, I mean, 0 Degree, they're not playing in this next game, so they're going to be out for the time being. But we got Brawlers, we got Dark currently in the lead for total damage, around 14,000 damage. And then Dark, they have another player.
14,000?
Around there, 1,400.
Oh, okay.
And then Dark also has the most healing done. So that goes to show me that not only is Dark from the Brawlers getting the kills, being aggressive, but also the lead on it, like going in first, you know, getting the knocks, getting
don't
the
forget,
kills,
he's
and then
support.
healing up. He's not a support after this event. And then 0 Degree, they have damage leaders in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place.
All
Position.
4 of their players, if I'm not mistaken, are in the top 7 of damage overall.
So,
That's
I mean,
insane.
these two squads in particular here, the Brawlers and 0 Degree, are putting up the numbers when it comes to kills, putting up the numbers when it comes to damage, and they're just opening it up here today.
I don't know how this is going to change, though, because we are going to have another group coming into the mix. Group C, that includes Fnatic and INS and all the other teams we talked about a lot earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is completely different, obviously, from Team B, from Group B, rather. I wonder how this is going to change the playstyle. We haven't seen them play just yet. And, of course, since Fnatic is new, we don't exactly know how aggressive or how they play. So it will probably affect the dynamic, but we're not too sure exactly how.
Yeah, much needed break from Group B, because looking at a couple of those teams, besides 0 Degree, not many other teams too well in the first 2 games. They didn't come out too hot, I guess you can say.
I don't think anyone did.
That break.
8-Bit did kind of okay. They were around
average.
They're average, definitely, but everybody else seems to be on the lower side.
Exactly.
However,
so hopefully this break they can reset.
Can I bring in some numbers here, by the way? 'Cause